Hello, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Pick a Side podcast. My name is Joel Moran, and I'm here with River Brown, Joel Dehls, and John Tortorelli, and it's now episode 302. In this episode, we are going to talk about the Hawks potentially trading for Pascal Siakam, react to the NBA's opening night and Christmas Day schedule, which player will take the biggest leap from Team USA, and Celtics Suns depth comparison. It's a must-have conversation.
Must-have. You weren't ready for the show, it looks like.
Yo, I swear to God, he usually says, "Are you ready?" And then we say, "Oh yeah." I didn't say yeah, so I thought yeah.
But at some point we got
it's all right. We got a lot of fucking content for you guys today, man. Oh my God, and my stomach hurts. So.
And before we get into that content, just real quick, Mojo Waitlist DFS. Make sure you guys sign up and join. Link is in our bio. Mojo has extended us for the NFL season. They are our biggest and only sponsor, and it would mean a lot if you guys can join the waitlist. And number two, we had the privilege and the honor of speaking to one of the greatest rappers of all time, a legendary actor, a legendary producer. He's the owner of the Big Three, Mr. Ice Cube.
Yes, sir.
And here goes the interview for that. Joined with us now is a special guest, one of the most influential rappers in the genre's history, legendary actor, producer, and director, and owner of the Big Three, Ice Cube. Thank you for being on the show.
Yeah, man. What's happening? Thanks for having me.
We're doing good right now. Are you excited for the Big Three playoffs coming up?
Hell yeah. That's what we play for, to see who's the best teams. We had a real competitive year. Coming down the wire, we had 7 teams that was 4-2. And so got a little separation last week, but this week is going to tell it all. And so, can't wait to see who's the final 4.
Because I'm looking at the standings, and the top 4 is the Killer Threes, Triplets, Trilogy, all at 5-2. Then you have 4 teams with all 4-3 records. The Enemies, Power, Ball Hogs, and the Ghost Ballers, and all of them are playing this weekend.
Yeah, we got 4 games this weekend, and all of them have stakes. It's pretty much win or go home, and that's what you want. You want to come down to the wire. This is our last week. It's not the playoffs, but it feels like the playoff is going to start, Sunday.
Yeah, and I was looking at the matchups this coming week. The one that stuck out to me, Triplets versus Power, right? Triplets side, you got guys like Joe Johnson, Jeremy Pargo, Larry Sanders. Power, you got a couple #1 overall picks there. Coutinho Mobley's the captain. But what really intrigues me with this matchup is the coaches. You have Nancy Lieberman and Lisa Leslie. 2 coaches, already won championships in the Big Three, trying to add another one to their resume. I'm curious from your perspective, what's the importance on having female head coaches in the Big Three and the impact they've had on the league?
Well, we putting our money where our mouth is, and they're Hall of Famers, so they're the best people for the job. Ultimately, that's really what it comes down to. More than us checking a box. Both Nancy Lieberman and Lisa Leslie, they both won the championship, so they both have shown that they can coach men at a high level to the ultimate prize. And so, they've shown their talent. All I've done was really give them the platform and give them the stage to show what they already knew they can do. And so it's just been great to be in a position where some leagues say they want to do it. Some leagues drag their feet on doing it, but to really step in and do it and then prove the point by winning the championship, it really is extremely satisfying.
Do you have like a favorite going in? I know you're the league owner, so you can't really have a little pick. But do you have one to win the championship this year?
No, I don't have a favorite. Most years I do, but this year's been so close, and the competition has pretty much been even. And some of these teams, they've lost by one basket or two baskets. It's not like, teams are getting blown out. So it's so evenly matched. I can't really pick until I see what teams are gonna make the championship, to be honest.
Yeah, so we're from Jersey. We're from New Jersey. So we saw a player like Isaiah Briscoe, come up from Roselle Catholic and be so elite and pretty much have New Jersey by storm. He was kind of in your league. He kind of got his overseas contract, and then you brought in Hezzy God to come in and be a good player. He's big on TikTok. Do you plan on, bringing in more younger guys in the future along with expanding the league? I've seen you've done that in the past couple of years. Do you think it is going to be geared towards bringing in more younger players?
I mean, we always look to do that. We started 22 years old. So the thing is, what people will realize the more and more they watch the Big Three is it's its own sport. You got to have, you got to be, got to have your basketball, IQ has to be high. You have to have a bag of moves. These guys know all the veteran tricks. So, we haven't really have a youngster able to play at this level and be able to get loose, But, some of our younger players are in their 20s still and they've figured it out. So, of course, we're looking to be younger and not just to be younger, but to find the best athletes that can play this game at this level. It's physical. A lot of youngsters not used to playing that physical. So, it's really about the athletes. If they're there, they're available, they want to play, I believe we got a platform for them. And as far as expanding, right now we're in the process of selling teams. So teams will have ownership and they will represent cities. So as we, sell these first 12 teams, they'll be the, New Jersey triplets or whatever, whatever owners we find that have a connection with their cities, we're going to try to do that. And then we'll expand to 16 teams and it'll keep going and growing.
One question I had, when you look at the Big Three's league, you've got former top 5 picks, you've got NBA champions, a variety of different all-stars. Have you, up close and personal, seen some players who didn't get to end off their NBA tenure in the note that they liked, get to rediscover that passion for the game?
Definitely. Guys, when the NBA doesn't have room for you or for whatever reason, sometimes it's a personality thing. Has nothing to do with their game, has something to do with, they might be real outspoken and rub some organizations the wrong way and get a bad name and they find themselves out the league. These guys got a chip on their shoulder, but they still want to play at home. They still want to play, in America in front of, their friends, family, peers, and they still want to show everybody what they got. So we have a lot of athletes with a chip on their shoulder who felt like they didn't get a good run in the NBA, or the NBA didn't even give them a good look at all. Right. And so they have a lot to prove. And that's the kind we want. I know a lot of people say, dude, Q, go get this name, go get that name. But I don't just want the name, I want the game. You got to have that edge. You got to still be ready to get buckets, and you got to still be ready to compete at a high level, on a big stage. So a lot of people, they retire, they're done. They don't want it no more, or their body has worn out, and they don't want to be a pro like that no more, which is cool. They can come sit by me. But if you really got a dog in you and you really want to still get down, I think we got a great stage.
That's a great point. Some players never get that opportunity. And I think of a Glenn Rice Jr. in 2013, he wins Summer League MVP with the Wizards, and he just never gets a shot in the NBA to really prove himself. And so seeing guys get that opportunity is big time for sure.
And there's former NBA players that get to the big three and they don't play like their former NBA self. They're struggling against guys who probably had lesser of an opportunity to showcase what they can do.
Well, here's the issue. You can't be a specialist in the big three. Mm. Like in the NBA, you can be a three-point guy, you can be a rebound guy, you can be a defensive guy. But in the big three, you got to be able to dribble, pass, shoot, and defend at a high level, or you're gonna get exposed, and you're not gonna look as good as you look, in the NBA. And you got to be able to, in some ways, get your own shot. We got pick and rolls that go down, but the players that can actually break the defender down and get in the lane and get their own shots are successful in the big three.
And has there been any player, I'm wondering, because you obviously have a lot of big names, Joe Johnson, Michael Beasley, you got some coaches in there that had, successful careers. Has there been any maybe under the radar player that surprised either you or maybe the league that you weren't expecting?
Yeah. I mean, when you look at, players that kind of come out of nowhere, I looked at Glenn Rice Jr., you just mentioned him. Right. And he was amazing. Jody Meeks is lighting it up in the league. He it seemed like every time he shoot, I think it's going to go in. So, I think he's always been a great player. I saw him with the Lakers for a few years, and to see that he's still got that shot, and still can move and get open and get it off. It's pretty cool. Elijah Stewart, I think he came into the league, last year he played a few games, then he went to the G League. But this year he stayed the whole time, and I just think he's, a phenomenal athlete, and he just got a great vertical, and he can play. And so, these guys, you said Isaiah Briscoe, great, a great surprise.
For sure, and I know we're talking a lot about the big three, but I can't sit here and not talk about one of your favorite teams in the NFL, the Raiders, right? Moved to Vegas a couple years ago. I know you were vouching for that. I know you're still rocking with the Raiders. Had a bit of a different offseason. You move off your guy, Derek Carr. You got Jimmy G in there now. You have, of course, the Josh Jacobs situation. He has to get his money. I'm curious what your expectations for the season, really just this whole offseason where Derek Carr's been your franchise guy, Josh Jacobs been your franchise guy. What are you expecting for this season?
It's kind of like, you got a lowrider you're putting together, and think it might be dope, but all the parts are still laid out in the garage. So you're still assembling, what it's going to be. Hey, look, I'm a realist. We're in the AFC West. We got to deal with the Chiefs.
Oh, yeah.
The Raiders, you just want them to start building a team. 8-8 be, a record that I would expect. 8-8, maybe, 9-7. But it's still, we're still building a team. When you break it on down and tear it apart like we have, you don't even know what you got till they hit the field. So, I'm gonna have to hold my opinion till I kind of see at least 4 or 5 games.
Yeah.
And I had high hopes for the Raiders last season. Darren Waller, Devontae, Carr. Do you feel like the way Derek Carr left the Raiders, were you happy about that, or do you feel like he deserved a little bit more justice from the organization?
Well, I think he deserved a little more justice. He's dealt with so many different coordinators, so many different head coaches, controversy. Death of, I'm not deaf, but one of his favorite new receivers get into an accident and now he's, doing time in jail. Like, this dude went through it. And so he's never really had a chance to me. I think he's a good quarterback. I wish him well. And I wish it would have worked out with the Raiders because, I know he can play. He just, to me, didn't have a chance with all these changes.
Now, it's obvious that you're a busy guy. You just finished doing the Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. You're the owner of the Big Three, and I'm sure you do a plethora of other things. Do you still keep up with the NFL and like teams across the league? Or are you still an avid viewer of it?
Yeah, I love the NFL. It's only a few things that I can really fan out on in that sport. So, the NFL is great. And, I stay on top of it and, watch it. I can't wait till it start back up. That's why we end our championship on August 26th, because we don't want to run into that first week. Hell, it's like running into a brick wall. So, when the NFL start, that means the Big Three season is over. We've popped champagne somewhere, and somebody's a champion, and then now I can just be a fan and enjoy my life, so to speak.
At this table, we have a plethora of debates, and usually it's always around quarterbacks. Just real quickly, who are your top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL currently?
Oh, wow. I mean, you got to say Patrick Mahomes, for real. Yeah, I mean, he's doing it at an extremely high level. I do like the kid out of Cincinnati.
Joe Burrow.
But I still, love Lamar.
Of course.
Jackson, he's great. And, just thinking about the other quarterbacks, the kid in LA, for the Chargers is not bad either. He's a great quarterback, and how could you count out Aaron Rodgers?
Yes,
he's still a slinger out there. So, maybe I'm missing one or two, but those guys right there, I think you can win with them.
Riv's the Josh Allen guy.
Yeah, you missed my guy in Buffalo, but it's all right.
Hey, your guy is a tough guy in Buffalo. I think he's great. He's definitely up there, and he's definitely a winner. And we'll see we'll see if he can get over the hump. It's always something in Buffalo. We'll see if he can get over the hump.
Always something.
Definitely always. So we talked about your Big Three campaign. We talked about you being a Raiders fan. And I was on TikTok, and I seen you talking about how a jack of all trades, that quote about a jack of all trades. And you've had a great career as a director. You've had a great career as an actor. The 50th anniversary for hip-hop is coming up. I think that's such a big accomplishment for you. Do you plan on doing any new music coming up? Do you plan on, like, opening up any new music or doing stuff like that?
Oh, yeah. I'm working on an album right now. Hopefully we can finish it soon and get it out this fall. Always working on music, love music. And that quote is, jack of all trades, master of none, but it still beats being a master of one. Mm-hmm. So, spread yourself, do more, multiple things, I'm into that. So I love music. I love movies, TV, sports, anything I know that I can give people good product, good entertainment, a good time, I'm down to do it.
And now we'll finish this off with this last question. You talk about being a jack of multiple trades. You've done so many things in your career: rapper, actor, director, producer. You're an owner right now. My question for you is, what's your why? Why do you start a passion project like the Big Three? what gets you up in the morning to just try to grow it as much as possible? What's your why?
I love to create. I think, men are happiest when we're creating something. And, whether it's, a pet project or something, as big as, what I'm doing with the Big Three. But I think that's the why, we were born to create. We were born to manifest, to think of an idea, think of something, and then bring it to life and bring it into existence. That's what we're all built to do. And we got to use our superpower.
I love that answer. Thank you for being on Pick a Side, Ice Cube. It's an honor. We have your shirt up here. We knew you were going to come on, so we brought up the shirt. It's an honor to have you on.
No problem, man. Anytime, love talking to you guys. Thanks for covering the Big Three. Salute for that. And enjoy this last 3 weeks of the league.
That was cute.
That was cute.
We just,
I like that. That was actually dope.
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming at all.
Oh, sorry. He's just on the fly.
No, do your thing. Right. PG's, one of his nicknames is Batman. Have you ever?
Batman?
Yeah. Have you ever heard anybody call him? No, right? We're here.
So, yeah, that happened. So, how did you guys feel interviewing Ice Cube? It's a pretty surreal moment, right?
It was crazy.
Nervous
because we've had Slay on. Slay was probably our biggest since Ice Cube. You did miss Slay. Yeah. But Ice Cube, listen, we love you, Slay. But Ice Cube's in a little bit of a different bracket. I mean, Ice Cube was crazy, but he was awesome to have on. Real humble dude, saluted us at the end. So all love.
I think the cool part about it is like my dad was more excited than me because I told him yesterday. I was like, no, I told him 2 days ago because this was all like last minute. I was like, yeah, Dad, we might have Ice Cube on the show. He's like, Ice Cube? I was like, yeah. He was like, oh, shit, all right, keep me updated. Then the next day, I'm like, yeah, Dad, we're locking in. He was like, wait, hold on, let me do some research. I got some questions for you. I want you to ask. He sends me like 40 Ice Cube songs. And then I call him after the interview. He's like, yeah, Ice Cube, that's my dog, man. I can't believe you had him up there. I was like, yeah.
So he gave you 40 questions. How many did he deliver?
No, okay, you're actually slow. I said he sent me 40 songs.
Oh, songs.
Yeah, songs.
I didn't even hear that part.
Yeah, songs.
40 different songs with questions.
No, it was only 4 questions.
You're not the biggest old school hip hop fan. You like his music?
I liked Ice Cube because, like, when we were younger and my dad used to pick me up, every time I got in the car, it was Ice Cube. Yeah, that's his favorite rapper. So I know, like, Ice Cube. I know NWA. But he didn't really like Jay-Z, Nas. Like, he actually said on the phone, he's like, hey, man, y'all can have that Jay-Z dude. I got Ice Cube. Yeah, so I was like, yeah, he didn't really like all that. So I know Ice Cube a lot.
Nah, man, I kind of give a subtle hint on my Instagram about it. Posted "It Was a Good Day" by Ice Cube, legendary song. Just had
that song is actually kind of hard.
It is. The beat goes hard.
He said some wild lines in there about girls. I was like, oh, shit.
True. I was introduced to him playing Campaign. Black Ops 1 Bowman's voiceover. I'm like, this character's big time.
I didn't remember that.
You're
and
casual.
That was 2011. I was 7
to be introduced to Ice Cube like that's kind of crazy.
That was my first RPG. No, obviously I started watching the movies and shit. But our first RPG,
Friday.
I watched when I was 7. This was all.
You really expect John to watch good movies?
It's classic. What are you trying to say?
What do you mean?
Are you starting it already?
It's obviously those movies are for a certain demographic.
Oh, nuts! This guy is sickly just had Ice Cube on.
They are catered.
You gotta watch out for the.
Did you watch it?
Yes, I watched it. I watched Boys in the Hood. I watched Friday.
I feel like Friday.
I'm part of the demographic.
I feel like Boys in the Hood. Yes, I feel like Friday's so like it's a comedy. It's that, but it's also a comedy. I feel like everybody at this point is probably seeing Friday. He's on Twitter.
I haven't seen Friday. I've seen Boys in the Hood. I haven't seen Friday.
That's actually weird.
Yeah.
That's weird.
I feel like Boys in the Hood is almost more like
you don't relate to Boys in the Hood at all.
Not at all. Yeah. So I don't relate to Power.
I mean, come on, Ice Cube wasn't writing Friday.
What do you watch?
Me?
Yeah.
Like shows?
Yeah, like what? Fuck.
He watches Snowfall.
That doesn't relate to you.
Definitely can
I just watch Snowfall.
What the fuck? Do you hear this guy? Do you hear this guy? What do you mean I can't relate to Snowfall? Streets?
You're not selling crack.
Yeah, no shot.
Fuck.
Ice Cube wasn't writing Friday with John Tortorelli from Waldwick in mind. He has to tune into
the location's crazy.
I was actually watching an interview of his, and he said that the reason why he wrote Friday is because most of the movies about the hood at the time were very negative and painted in the picture like it's always hell. So Friday was kind of a movie that he made so people can see that, every day is not fucking hell. They're having fun, they're laughing.
Shit was so funny.
Those being in those circumstances is unpredictable, but doesn't mean that it's awful.
You actually know who stole Craig's boxes from his job?
No.
Remember the crackhead that told Chris Tucker he would wash his car? It was him.
I didn't know.
Yeah,
I've only watched the first Friday. I haven't watched the other one.
No, I'm talking about the first Friday. Remember the guy in the beginning who's running away with the boxes? Those are Craig's boxes from his job. You don't know what I'm talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about. No. My favorite movie wasn't Ice Cube wasn't in it. He didn't act in it, but it was Menace to Society. That's my favorite.
That's a good movie.
Yeah,
I like that movie. They always die at the end. It's really sad.
Yeah, that's exactly what Ice Cube meant. Like these movies are usually always sad, and it's
always a sad death.
Pick
the way they
funny.
die.
So to start off the show, NBA opening night and Christmas game schedules have been released.
Interesting slate.
Now, the opening night of the NBA, Los Angeles Lakers at the Denver Nuggets. That's the opening game.
Makes
and
sense.
then the closing game is the Suns at the Warriors.
Lost me.
Think so?
The Warriors still got that name brand, shiny card, but bro, you got Chris Paul there now. Klay Thompson's coming off a down season. I guess Draymond got hit, but like the Warriors don't excite me like they used to.
Right.
They really don't.
It feels like the end of an era, maybe.
It kind of feels like the end of the era.
Sure.
They don't. It's unfortunate they don't have their first round pick this year either. If things go left,
Fucking casual. Anytime Steph Curry's in the court, it's always box top. Like it's always box office. You're nuts. I would have rather liked to see the Kings. Honestly, I would have
Suns Kings or Warriors.
Warriors Kings, not open. Like if it wasn't Warriors and Kings, I wouldn't mind not seeing Warriors on opening night. But I understand Steph is box office. You put him on any night, it's gonna sell out.
KD is box office too.
Right.
It's not Steph.
He's
not
box
Steph,
office
but
in the comment
KD's
section,
box
for
office
sure.
for
He's
sure.
tier 2. Steph and LeBron are tier
There's a
1.
reason
sure.
why
Yeah,
they had the Lakers and the Warriors playing opening night is because LeBron and Steph. There's a reason they got that boy Kevin Durant playing too.
Oh, the Suns are the biggest story of the offseason. The Suns are basically the NBA's version of the Jets.
He's cooking.
Box office.
Yeah.
It's a reason why they're playing at Chase, though. You do know that, right?
They need the Warriors to get off on a good note.
I don't think they care.
It was away.
It wouldn't matter. Steph.
No?
Warriors are away in Christmas.
Okay, well, you're home for the opening night. That's fair. You guys won, 9 road games last year?
You have how many rings in the last 10 years?
10?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
The Denver Nuggets, I like that they got their respect.
I like that they're getting the
deservedly.
rematch on opening day.
Especially
Lakers
all
and
the Mike Malone stuff he was talking. He's
crazy.
going into the offseason. After he won the chip, he was talking shit.
Okay, shit you want. You
Yeah.
can say whatever you want. So I like the first 2 games.
Opening night is pretty good.
Are you
Lakers
guys-
and Nuggets.
Are you surprised no Eastern Conference teams? Usually, I feel like they usually have 7 o'clock East or whatever, 7:30,
What's
10
exciting?
o'clock.
The Bucks and the Celtics for the 30,000th time.
That's fair.
Bucks
I
and
mean,
the Heat for the 50th time.
No one really wants to watch the Heat. They went to the chip and no.
I know.
The
Unless if
Sixers,
they
I
get
don't
Dame
think so.
though, if they would, you think if the Heat would have traded for Dame,
Yeah,
they
who
would have
who
put
they
him
play?
on the Celtics probably or the Bucks.
Nuggets. Yeah,
Now
see,
they
I
probably
don't-
would have done East, West.
I don't want to see that shit again. Oh, no, respect to the teams. I don't want to see that shit
But
again.
you're seeing this shit again.
It's new teams.
I mean, Lakers, Nuggets, we saw.
Denver,
Lakers' new team.
they lost Jeff Green. They lost Bruce Brown. Christian Brown takes those minutes, and Payne Watson, is he going to take a leap? The Lakers look like a much more complete team than Denver coming into the season.
In theory.
Boston
There,
Heat
yeah.
would have been the same storyline. Hey, Jimmy Butler versus Jason Tatum again.
If they would have got Dame, it would have been
There
different.
is a rivalry with the Bucks and the Celtics. I love to see that.
There is.
But
it's
Rather
just
than Julius
it's so
Randle.
tired
the
out,
basketball
bro.
is not as pretty
Yeah,
as the
it's-
West. I get it. It's more, we got tough guys over in the East. The West is all pretty. It's finesse. It's shooting.
You like him
And
more.
you know-
Jokic pretty passes.
It's cute.
As a basketball nerd, I love to see some rebuilding teams, but
Nerd?
no one wants to see
On opening day?
No one wants
No,
to see
on
Detroit,
Christmas.
bro.
I'm thinking Christmas as well.
Hey.
Respectfully.
Hey,
You wanna
relax.
see rebuilding teams on Christmas?
This guy said
Magic Pacers,
on
Paulo, Tyrese
on
Halliburton.
opening day.
Nah,
You
bro.
don't-
You
You
got to
don't
make
start
your
the
way.
NBA with some
Yeah, you
whack
gotta
shit,
make
bro.
your
You gotta
way
set the
there.
tone,
No, I'm
bro.
thinking ahead to Christmas.
I'm
Even
thinking
Christmas, you
you
don't-
have to have a team that's better, like OKC.
For
at
ratings,
least.
of course, but the
Christmas
nerd
is
inside
like
of me
NFL's
wants that.
Thanksgiving, and you mean to tell me you put the worst teams on Christmas? That's like
We already
Big time.
we already have to watch the Knicks, bro.
But I'm the type of guy who projects, and the Magic and Pacers to me
Oh,
are going
man.
to sneak into the playoffs or the play-in tournament at the very least.
does that
The Magic.
The Magic could sneak into the play-in.
they should be in the play. Fuck a sneak in.
Fair.
They should be in the play.
There's a lot of mediocre teams like the Bulls and Raptors who are trying to do that too.
That doesn't move me. I don't know what fan of the team he is. I can't even throw the joke.
Yeah, what do you say before the show?
He's a fan of rebuilding teams. So what's your new rebuilding team?
He likes fan bases. Not
You're an Orlando fan?
Fuck.
I'm not an Orlando fan per se, but Paulo is one of my favorite players to watch.
Of course he is.
I'm sure, Victor is too. Scoot, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
Uh-huh. You got a new guy?
What are you trying to say, Dehls? You trying to?
He's
you.
He's
you.
I was Burrow Mahomes. I was just kind of,
Wait, hold up.
Joker,
Relax.
Embiid. He was an Embiid fan. For the fans, apparently, this new information came out that John was an Embiid fan and a Sam Hinkie fan and a fan of the process. The process was clearly a failure, so he decided to jump on Denver's coattails and be a Joker fan.
The way information's presented, Riff, that's bullshit.
No,
That's
you told me that bar for
I
bar.
was such a Embiid fan.
Bar
His
for
first
bar.
3 years can't play a basketball game.
You
But
didn't
he
play
didn't
ball for
play.
2 of those years.
Yeah, I was rooting for the 76ers.
He's worse.
So he started playing basketball. And he said, "I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm
Hey,
watching about the
bro?
bench. I
I
don't
like
need to
both
see
really. I
nothing."
like watching Thaddeus Young play. What's wrong with that?
What
You're
the?
insane.
So you like Toronto?
You're insane.
He's on the Raptors,
No,
right?
not this version of Thaddeus
okay.
Young.
The
But
one that
Thaddeus Young even
prime
on
Thaddeus
those
Young.
teams.
he was traded by like 24.
Thaddeus Young has a record. He's one of those. He's one of
Thaddeus
5
Young
players that
wasn't
average
even-
13, 7, 7, 2. It's like shooting it's like this weird ass, stupid ass
Very
stat.
incredible
specific stat.
ESPN filters. I'm thoroughly impressed with
Thaddeus
that.
Young wasn't even on those teams. It was Jeremy Grant. He was a star in
He
Covington.
was traded by like 2013. Probably. I haven't
He
looked.
definitely
And
was
also,
going- he was
Dehls,
going
you're not about to get away with that, mister.
What?
Because one, Joe Burrow, Mahomes, I haven't just became fans of them. Joe Burrow, I got a trading card from LSU
And you
days.
have the Mahomes shirt.
And I
we
have the
know.
Mahomes shirt. Yeah,
you have the
I was
Mahomes
wearing
tweet.
it.
Yeah, yeah.
And, let's mention the Mahomes tweet where they chose my voice to voice over Mahomes' accomplishments.
Congratulations.
And
Nothing you can do about that.
Dehls quote tweeted it, and I
Did you try to
replied.
front on Dehls just now?
He did. Nah, he tried to a little muscle up real quick.
I replied to the tweet, and I said I'm stamped in the Mahomes fandom Hall of Fame after
It
this.
doesn't mean I'm not going to give you shit for it, being a fan of the best 2 quarterbacks in football. But
Hey, listen, it just turned out to be the best.
Funny
but I've
enough
seen
about
him
that
before
video,
they
he
was
called
that.
Josh Allen the best quarterback in NFL not too long ago.
last year.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
Josh
After, I mean, you
Josh
saw the
Allen was
playoffs.
the best
Did you-
quarterback in the NFL the first half of the year. So
I'm here. Don't you don't
But
get no shit from me.
does one half of the year just throw away everything that Mahomes has done?
well, Joel probably said it. I don't like defending you, but
No,
you
he said it
probably
before the summer. He said it in the
first
summer.
half, right?
No, he said after the playoffs.
Oh, after
He did.
No, I didn't say Josh Allen was the best last season. I said Josh Allen was the best
2 years
after
ago.
the playoffs.
Yeah, after the
Post
playoffs.
The
Chiefs Bills
and
ridiculous
Bills
game. Yeah.
went into that shootout.
He can't even defend you correctly. See how this is going on?
I mean, listen, he said he doesn't like defending me. I'm not trying to get
I
his
don't
defense.
believe that
What?
he doesn't like defending.
Yeah, he's captain. Yeah, he's-
No, I was just pointing out. I think Josh Allen's a little bit underrated right now. Easily.
Who has him outside the top 4?
I've definitely seen lists where he's
Really?
outside the top 4. Yeah,
I feel like
Well,
everything is.
our boy
pretty
Ice Cube just
solidified.
did not name him in
He
his top
didn't.
5. So
He didn't.
yeah.
named
I
Lamar.
guess that's true. He had
He didn't
Rodgers
name
over him.
anybody either. He just named them by the team.
He said the
No, he
kid
said
from
Lamar. He said
Cincinnati.
Lamar's name. He said Lamar Jackson. He said
Said Mahomes and Lamar.
And he said, you know what he said at the end?
Rodgers.
Can't count out Aaron
Yeah, he
Rodgers.
said-
Aaron Rodgers.
He just ain't name Herbert and Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
The
young
Christmas
guys.
Day schedule is underwhelming. The Bucks at Knicks, I think that's a boring game. NBA Christmas do better. Bucks at Knicks, boring. Sixers at Heat,
That's boring.
that's boring as well. Celtics at Lakers,
That's prime time.
Respectable
That's prime
game.
time.
It's all right.
Mavericks at Suns.
LeBron James, Jason Tatum.
What do y'all think about the Mavericks at Suns?
We got the,
I guess I
the
get it.
rivalry.
It has some type of tension and storyline.
Got
to
the
it, so it makes
Kyrie,
sense.
Much like
KD.
Grizzlies Warriors, because you got the big brother you feel like in Luka versus the little brother. Seems
Yeah.
I mean, neither of them won. So
Yeah.
the
it's not like
Warriors
the
at
Warriors have
Nuggets.
4 chips.
See, the Warriors and Nuggets, there's nothing there, so it doesn't make sense to me.
there is.
It's
something
just
there.
Steph and Jokic. That's what's there.
Exactly. Yeah.
The Warriors, are the one team that haven't. Or
I
sorry,
think
Yeah, the
bias
Nuggets
aside,
haven't beat the
Celtics
Warriors.
Lakers is the most exciting game on here.
That's the best one.
Yeah.
I feel like
That's
you
the
could have
6
had
o'clock game.
Cavs Knicks again, or Cavs Celtics. I feel like those 2 games, because what we seen last year with the Cavs and Celtics,
They beat
they
us.
were box
Yeah.
office. Every single game was
I'm
fire.
gonna make both of
Could
them.
have had Warriors Kings if you wanted to add a new team to the Christmas list. Because
Clippers,
every time the Warriors and the Kings play, fire game. You could have had Clippers and the Suns. The storyline is right there. Devin Booker's talking shit. PG's
Paul
talking
George,
shit.
yeah.
Put them on Christmas. I mean, there's like NBA just be fumbling storylines.
Could add Minnesota on there.
Clippers Lakers is 2020 to me personally. I feel like the
Yeah, I would have rather the Clippers and Suns for sure.
I just feel like with NBA Christmas, it's for cycle teams all the time. And it
Every
just,
time.
every time the schedule comes out, you
And Philly's up
realize
there again.
that there's just
No.
no real rivalries in the NBA anymore.
Who's Philly playing?
Philly's playing the Heat.
Okay. Philly could have played Denver. would have made more sense.
That would have made way more sense.
Philly could have did that. You know, the Heat could have played the Bucks again. You know, AFC beating that team. Like it's just there's so many storylines the NBA just refuses to accept. So.
If I was doing a Christmas Day schedule, I'm having the Celtics at Heat, the Warriors at Lakers, the Nuggets, Sixers playing.
Nuggets, Sixers is so random.
No, it's because Joel
Embiid versus Jokic.
Okay.
I feel like you have to every year try to add one or two new teams. You know,
Yeah.
like young, exciting teams.
You would have added who would you?
Kings. I would add the Kings.
If they're gonna add it, it's probably gonna be the early games, the 12 or they're not gonna.
No,
make
you
it
can't
the 9
play.
o'clock games.
That's why I would have had Kings at Warriors. You would
For the
have had
late
it.
game?
Yeah, like I would have had the Kings and maybe Minnesota, or if Ja was playing, you could have added Memphis.
Is Ja gonna be playing by Christmas?
No, I don't think so.
That's 25 games in by Christmas, right?
Actually, he might be
Basically all of November and all of December, a
Might have
couple weeks
cooked.
in
The season's
October.
starting 1 week later this year, so
Oh yeah.
Christmas is like the 8th week of the NBA season.
The Warriors got a lot of buzz here. You know, they're going to be on opening night and Christmas Day. But recently, I mean, Rav, I want to get your thoughts on this.
Talk to me.
When Jordan Poole got traded, Steph Curry wrote
I passed
a
out.
very heartwarming going away letter to him, whatever post. Steph Curry posted about Jordan Poole when he got traded. Klay Thompson was on Paul George's podcast recently and spoke highly of Jordan Poole. He didn't have to do that. Is it a bad look that it looks like Draymond is the only one that had a problem with Poole?
I mean, it makes sense, you know, because they were the one that were kind of in the heat of the moment. You know, Draymond's the one who hit Jordan Poole, and Draymond's come out and said Jordan Poole said some things that shouldn't be said. Okay. So, and Jordan Poole even came out in a couple interviews in the summer and said, I can still talk to Steph, I can still talk to Klay, I can still talk to Wiggins, those are still my brothers. So he clearly does not mention Draymond's name, doesn't speak on Draymond's name. So obviously the tension is there. Tension is obvious. You know, it makes sense that Steph, who looked at him as like a little brother, he's the only one at first that kind of acknowledged the Poole trade. Then Klay said it again. Klay said it on the podcast. I don't think it's a big deal. I just think it's obvious that Poole had issues. You go pick still one of the best defensive players in the league that can help you win now, and Draymond, the guy who's a veteran. You pick him over the young guy 10 times out of 10 because that's the guy who's been there. So I don't look at it as a big thing. I'm just interested to see how Chris Paul and Draymond clash because Draymond openly said he never liked Chris Paul. Mm-hmm. So
he almost doubled down.
Yeah,
said we have to like talk like men.
Yeah, like
or whatever.
what the fuck? Like so now you have huge egos in the locker room. Steph is in there, Klay's in there. What are they gonna do? Kerr's in there. It's very, very confusing. And we have footage of Chris Paul kind of like
not wanting to accept the bench role.
Yeah, so it's like we'll see how this goes. It's gonna be definitely a lot of
Chris
turmoil
Paul
and drama.
Got more pride and he got more ego than Jordan Poole.
Oh yeah, I mean Jordan Poole don't have even if he has ego, he has nothing he's earned to give that ego a backup. You know, Chris Paul has a Hall of Fame career, so it's like it's gonna be a lot of drama and flair and turmoil with the Golden State Warriors, but the league seems like it doesn't give a fuck because Steph is still box office and they put him on the big time games. So,
what are your thoughts on Bob Myers accepting a job at ESPN potentially?
He is.
They said he was close yesterday to accepting.
That's good
a deal.
for Bob. It's good for Bob.
Some
man.
calm, you know, he could do a couple days a week.
He was getting tired of all this shit. I understand. It's good for Bob, man. I love Bob.
Did you also see the Austin Reeves quote? He thought it was like what's that Twitter account, Buttcrack Sports or whatever, with the with the Chris Paul trade. He thought it was fake. Yeah.
Oh shit.
See, that seems like a troll move.
He even knows that shit was crazy.
Yeah.
Right? I get it. Listen, I passed out when that shit happened. Chris Paul was nuts.
Now that video is legendary of you.
Yeah, but you know we're here. Got a nice little cool team, playoff team. So
be a shame if you didn't make the playoffs.
It'd be a shame if you don't win. Oh wait, no, it always happens. You don't win. So
that's awfully negative, Joel.
You're a Bulls fan.
Oh, jeez.
You cooked. I'll drop it.
I miss the days when Riv was actually a Bulls fan.
Me too.
Cooked with that statement earlier.
They just haven't given me nothing.
We were actually, can I expose you real quick? In the McDonald's line?
What McDonald's line?
When we were in line for McDonald's, I
don't give a fuck.
Riv gets McDonald's twice a month, limits himself. First of all, you know, very proud of you. But we're going through his teams, and he's like, we're narrowing down the teams. He's like, I'm just going to cut it down, you know, to like 4 this upcoming year. And he's going through, and he leaves the Bulls off. I'm like, you're going to cut the Bulls from your top 4? He's like, I think I might have to do it, man. I'm like, what the fuck?
It's not looking too good, man. Nothing promising over there. I love Zach, though. Zach's cool. DeMar's cool. I like Debo.
That's crazy.
But then I said what I said. I said 5.
You're gonna allow that. Coming down from, what are you at, 15 now?
14.
14? Even after the draft, 14.
Yes, it was 14. It got to 14. It was like 9. Then after the draft, it was 14.
14. Now we're gonna
after this season, I'm cutting it to 5. 5 will be. I will not do it no more. I'm gonna retire that. That guy of me being a front runner, and I'm not really even a front runner. I got hella whack teams.
I feel like that's you now. You should just embrace it.
I want to be viewed in a different light. So
I feel like it's so. But you do have the Warriors are your team.
Yeah, people understand that's me.
Yes.
So when Steph goes, I don't know what's gonna happen.
I can't wait.
Wizards fan?
I'll be watching.
He'll be watching from the sidelines.
For sure. I'll be logged in. I'll be watching random Wizards game on a Saturday afternoon, seeing what's going on.
You and 10,000 people across the country.
Yeah.
See what's going on. Yeah, for sure. Seeing what Pool's doing and shit. So I'm excited. You don't want us to make the playoffs, the Warriors?
We have
Are
your
you so
pick.
scared of us not making the playoffs?
We have your top 4 protected pick.
What the? You are just harping onto that shit, huh?
It could potentially. I mean, you guys have the drama with Chris Paul and the guys. Jordan Poole leaves. Draymond with Chris Paul. You know,
how worse can it get from last year?
They had a good offseason.
It could get bad.
You think so?
I think it could get ugly.
For it to get worse from last year, we'd have to also be ass on the at home. I don't think we'd be ass at home.
I mean, your problem last year was the bench. You added Dario Saric, who looked good in the second half of the year. I've been a huge supporter of Trayce Jackson Davis because
if you're excited, I can't be excited.
Okay, and then you also got Kuminga and
Kuminga's cool if he plays him.
And Corey Joseph, you didn't mention him.
Yeah, like the 12th man, and that's pretty good. If Corey
solid.
Joseph is your 7th player off the bench, so
I don't even think he'd be the 7th. It might be like the 9th or 10th.
he's down there.
You think Trayce Jackson Davis is better than Corey Joseph?
I love the fit. Perfect.
How much? If he's
not excited, I can't
if
be
Kerr's
excited.
not going to play Kuminga, Moses Moody, I don't know.
Well,
how
he likes
much
he likes the high
He's
IQ,
24 years
smart
old.
guys.
He felt like he was undersized, 24 years old, and he wasn't
He's
a good
what?
shooter.
He's 24.
Yeah,
Hey, I'm not a fan.
Damn.
but
No,
I thought he was like 22.
you look at the Warriors system, it is the undersized bigs with a high feel. He's a good athlete. I think he leads Indiana all time in shot blocking. He could protect the rim. Thank you. I appreciate it, dude. And he had a little bit of finishing touch, too. So I think in the pick and
You're
roll,
high on him.
In what world would he play, though?
he'll be that, roll man off the bench. That James Wiseman.
Because you said Saric would be there. Kuminga's probably going to play the 4 off the bench.
Right.
You got Moody. You got Chris Paul.
You get
and
a
then
stretch element for
AirPods.
Dario. AirPods.
AirPods going to get more burn than Trayce.
Yeah, probably.
That's 5 guys I just named. You do know that, right? And then Corey Joseph. He's going to, Kerr's going to play the veteran.
John's having a malfunction.
He didn't realize. He didn't realize, yeah.
But Trayce can definitely earn minutes by his second year.
Oh, okay. Well, he's 25.
Breakout.
Okay.
Hey, Poole could have a
What's
year
this
5
with
breakout.
you in age, man?
We know.
What do you mean?
He likes young guys. The younger, the better.
All right. We're losing the
NBA offseason, really, nothing has really happened. The biggest news so far, though, is that the Hawks are making a push for Pascal Siakam, who's on the final year of his deal. He wants a big and lucrative deal. And looking at the trade package the Hawks could get for Siakam, it's intriguing. DeAndre Hunter, AJ Griffin, and some picks. I'm looking at a trio of Trae Young, Pascal Siakam, DeJounte Murray. In the East, that's one of the top trios in the East.
No,
I think
not.
it is.
I mean, trios because you have to add in that third. If we just do duos and it's Trae and Siakam, or however you want to slice it,
I'm not a fan of this. I'm not a fan of this fit.
I like this move for the Raptors. Because at some point they have to make a direction, right? Are they going to try to rebuild? Are they going to try to win a championship? I mean, their team is far away from being an actual competitor in the East, so it makes sense to move off Siakam, but they've been reluctant for years, it seems now, to not move off Pascal. But if they're able to get multiple young players, I'm sure there'll be some picks in there too, and kind of go towards a rebuild. Plus, your pick this upcoming season will likely be higher. That makes all the sense. For the Hawks, it puts you're obviously a better team with Siakam, but I don't think that puts you over the hump. Like there's no world where I'm going to be putting you over Boston or Milwaukee. The East is kind of ugly right now with the Harden situation. We don't know what's going on there. The Cavs are disappointing, but we're expecting to be better in year 2 with Donovan Mitchell. But it makes them a fun regular season team, but I don't think their ceiling in the playoffs gets that much higher.
The reality is it still wouldn't be a top 5 trio in the East. I look at this idea.
Top 5?
Top 5 now.
They were 21st in 3-point percentage this
Yeah,
year.
and Siakam's not going to
You
help
look
with
at
that.
what the Raptors
They will be
needed
trading their
last
3-point
year.
shooters.
That's true.
They're one of the worst defenses with arguably the worst space in basketball. So if you pair up Clint Capella and Pascal Siakam at the 4 and 5, that problem does not get any better, replacing Hunter, who is a decent shooter at the very least.
Solid defender also.
A solid defender with Pascal. He might even be more impactful on the defensive end. I like Siakam.
And Pascal Siakam,
Okay, buddy, you do too much. What do you mean, Hunter?
he's a pinch starter.
Yeah, he is a pinch starter.
Siakam is an all-star, all-NBA player.
John said DeAndre Hunter might be more impactful on the defensive end than Siakam. And me and Joel looked at each other.
I mean, you look at the Raptors' defense, it's been a total mess outside of OG Anunoby. So I kind of...
Siakam's a better off-ball defender.
Sure, he is an impactful one. But I'd just make the point, he does not solve their issues.
Oh, no, yeah.
And you look at the Eastern Conference, you've got the Bucks trio, the 76ers with Harden for now. You got the Cavaliers, the Miami Heat, even with Tyler Hero, that's a better trio. And I'm forgetting
even
one
the
team,
just...
the Celtics, with Kristaps Porzingis. So you're still a 6 seed. And I look at the DeJounte Murray move. You just extended him. I'm like, him, Pascal, and Trey, they don't actually complement or really I wouldn't say Pascal doesn't complement Trey because of his playmaking, but if neither of those two guys are good floor spacers, I don't think it's a good idea to double down on that.
The Raptors have had a pretty good defense the last couple of years. 12th in defense rating this season. Last season, they were 10th. The year before, they were 15th. I mean, it's not horrible. It's not
this
disaster.
last
That's actually
season,
great.
Yeah, it's not a
this
disaster.
last season, they were 17th. They added in Pirtle, and they were top 10.
Oh, yeah,
defense
Pirtle
end
did.
season.
But 17th is still good. It's middle of the pack.
They were below
But if you're
average.
17th, your offense needs to cook.
I mean, they're
Their
17th
offense
with
will not
no
cook.
real
Yeah.
center.
Yeah.
I think the Raptors have been asking a little bit too much out of Pascal Siakam because he's a four-man, and you're asking him to play center and play bigger than he actually is on numerous nights. The fit is odd. Trade DeJounte Siakam. It doesn't sound like a great fit, but the Hawks have to do something. They're not going to get over the hump with DeAndre Hunter or an AJ Griffin development in year 2. They need to make a move. And if they trade for Siakam, they sign him long term, you at least have a chance to build around Trey and Siakam. You can trade DeJounte because his contract isn't that much and maybe get pieces to complement them. But the Hawks have to make a move. And right now, the East, to me, feels vulnerable. And I think the Hawks, if they can mesh and figure something out, this could be a dark horse.
Vulnerable when the Heat and the Celtics just went back to the ACF again.
And we're expecting the Heat to get Dame.
The Hawks just took the Celtics to 6 games with no Siakam.
It's true, but
fraudulent.
The rationale last all season when the Hawks lost in 5 games to the Heat was that they needed to make a move.
He shot that shit from deep.
It's one of the worst days of Twitter.
Yeah.
Sorry,
we were talking about the Trae Young 3.
But trios,
just because you need to make a move doesn't.
This isn't the move.
So what do the Hawks do?
They have to sit. Why would you trade your best shooters for Pascal Siakam?
Because Siakam can do so much more that
but he doesn't fit.
Siakam
is a great player. I'm not saying he's not a great player. He can do so much more for a team, but I don't think he comes to Atlanta and fix their deficiency. I don't think he's that type of player for them, unless they move off Clint. But even then, they still have Onyeka, who's a solid mid-range shooter, really good mid-range shooter. But at the same time, you're still going to sit on that Onyeka mid-range jump shot, three-pointer. You're going to sit on that DeJounte jump shot. No spacing for Trae Young. I think this isn't the move they should make. DeAndre Hunter, AJ Griffin, they may not blossom in Pascal Siakam. You never know. Definitely not DeAndre Hunter. AJ Griffin, we don't know. But those are two guys that complement Trae Young very well in form of they space the floor. DeAndre Hunter's a solid defender, strong, physical. I don't think this is the move they should do because even if you lock yourself up with Siakam long term, it's not a guarantee you could bring in more pieces that could complement. You still have Bogdanovic on a big contract. You're going to have to pay Onyeka soon. DeJounte, you'll have to find a trade partner for him, and not many teams he can fit. So I think sitting yourself on this deal, I don't know if this is a deal for. I think in a vacuum, it sounds good, but I don't think this is the move Atlanta should make because I don't think, like you said, you're still going to have to play one of them top 5 teams in the East, and I don't think this is the move that gets you to the ECF.
It really does depend on what you're giving up, right? If you have to include Kobe Buffkin to it, that's seeing him play a game, that's one of the young guys here that could become a pretty good starter. I don't know if he's ever going to be as good of a shooter. He won't be as Kevin Huerter, but that's a potential, $20 million player down the line, a good scorer to complement Trae Young. So, yeah, if I were Quinn Snyder, I don't think this is the right type of move. Because you look at his teams in Utah, it was 4 on out with 1 big in and Rudy Gobert.
Later.
With Pascal Siakam, he's going to have to play the 4. He's not a small ball 5 the way we saw in Toronto. He can in pinches, no doubt about it. And he may solve their bench issues, which DeJounte Murray simply didn't do last year. That's kind of the whole reason they traded 3 first-round picks for the guy. But in the end...
DeJounte was good in the playoffs. Respect him, please.
He was good. So was
but Trae Young was off the court. The Hawks weren't.
I know.
No, of course.
I know, yeah. But respect,
Positive.
he was good in the playoffs. Show some
the thing, though,
respect.
is that, listen, I think you make a sound argument. The later years in Utah, sure. The early years in Utah was Rubio, Donovan Mitchell, Derek Favors,
Gobert.
Yeah,
How did that work out for them?
They made it out the first round. they never made it to the conference finals in either year with Utah, even when they got improved spacing.
That was 2017.
But the point was, the league's changed. It's not good to have 2 non-shooters in your starting lineup.
If Pascal Siakam is not the move, then what is the move? Because if
it's nothing right now.
I think Siakam works, but because I think Trae and Siakam, that fits, right? I think DeJounte, but to DeJounte's credit, his 3-point percentage went up to about 34-35% from his previous season in San Antonio. So if he's able to continue his 3-point success and he becomes a 35-36% 3-point shooter, then it works. You still have a pretty small backcourt, even with Kobe Buffkin, who's 6'4". 6'3". It's just when Trae Young is your one, and listen, we all think Trae Young's fantastic. When Trae Young's the best player on your team, it's hard for me to sit here and be like, you're going to get to a championship. We just, throughout the history of basketball, like outside of Steph Curry, there's not many guys that are 6 foot taking teams to championships.
The margin for error is slim, and that's why you can't double down rushing on a move the way they do with Murray. And on the Murray point, he's gotten a little bit better shooter. He raised his volume to 5 attempts. I actually have the numbers.
He's 52% in the left corner, 31% in the right
Stop
corner.
with that bullshit. He's a 33% career 3-point shooter.
I was going to help you. Wait, hold on. I was going to help you out to tell you he's not that good of a shooter.
Oh.
Yeah. See? You see when you jump to fucking conclusions?
It's just one simple stat.
He was 34.5 last year, though, on 5 attempts. That
wasn't
fine.
bad. But for starting shooting guard, that's well below average.
Yeah. Well, but this is the thing, and this is what I think you're missing.
With the open looks, too. Trae's opening up.
Shoots 47% in the mid-range, though. That's actually kind of hard.
If I'm the Hawks, I'm trying by all means.
That's good.
I'm trying to keep A.J. Griffin on the team. I'm okay with trading Hunter. I'll even trade in Kobe Buffkin instead of trading away A.J. Griffin just because the size and 3-point shooting.
Okay. That's valid.
Yes, I know you're high on Kobe Buffkin, but
I get it.
A.J. Griffin for the Hawks.
But they do need a backup guard, though.
Makes more sense.
Atlanta.
But if you have Trae, DeJounte, and Siakam, the benefit of having all those 3 guys, listen, I know the spacing might hurt, but spacing is not everything. Even if you
spacing is like the most important thing.
I don't think it's everything when the players around that said star player aren't great. They're pinch starters. In Atlanta right now, DeAndre Hunter is an average NBA starter. A.J. Griffin can develop, but right at this point, he's an average NBA starter. You're basically asking a lot out of Trae Young to carry a team that lacks talent and for him to create everything for that team where, yeah, you hurt in spacing if you trade for Siakam, but one, we have to recognize something. Siakam is an all-NBA player, and what you're trading for him is basically essentially a bag of chips to go get Pascal Siakam. There's no move that is going to come up where an all-NBA player is on the last year of his contract and you don't have to trade much to go get him. The benefit of having Siakam is that now you have DeJounte, Trae, and Siakam who can all facilitate and create for themselves in the offense, and that makes it a lot easier. And now, who knows if Trae Young has a resurgence in his shooting percentage this upcoming season, because every other year, it seems to happen. If Trae Young can be an efficient deep-range shooter with DeJounte and Siakam giving you average production from there, I don't think it hurts that much. The Fred VanVleet's All-Star year 2 seasons ago, Siakam shot 36% on catch and shoot threes. So Siakam is capable of being average. And I think having all the skill sets that Siakam brings you to the team is more valuable than having 2 good 3-point shooters that don't offer anything else offensively.
I think it's the flexibility that the Hawks would be giving up because, of course, DeAndre Hunter, A.J. Griffin, whatever the package is, you're probably not going to be able to get someone of Siakam's caliber. But if you're able to pair DeJounte Murray, who just got $30 million, his contract, with the young pieces and the picks, now you could probably get someone who could have a real impact and fit Trae better. So even though the value for Siakam is fantastic, the flexibility you have down the road becomes a lot less. You're a lot tighter in terms of cap space.
And there's a reason why you're getting
Siakam shot 34% on wide open threes.
This past season?
Yeah, 34% on wide open and open
It's
threes.
Interesting because in 2020, he took 6 a game and made 36%. But in the year since, he's had such a huge on-ball role. And he's going to continue being tired of shit. Because the last 2 years, he's been getting the Luol Deng treatment.
He's playing 38 minutes a game.
I know. He's literally back-to-back years.
Luol Deng was a dog.
He was. But my issue is
a legend.
The reason why Pascal Siakam season
you said 2021?
2020. Is because he has 1 year left in his contract. And if this upcoming season does not work out well, he's not obligated to the Hawks. He no longer can get that max contract.
And honestly, we've seen the Hawks not want to spend a ton. I know they just paid DeJounte, but we've seen the Hawks move off pieces to not go into luxury tax. If Siakam has an All-NBA season, now you got to pay him the supermax. Are they ownership going to be willing to pay him that?
The Hawks, to me, are already on a trajectory where it seems like they're going to eventually blow things up. So I think this is a last resort move because I don't see another star becoming available unless it's Joel Embiid. And that, is a needle mover, but how much would you have to trade for that? It's significantly way more. Yes, Embiid is a significantly better player, but we're talking about assets that the Hawks won't have to trade and make a lucrative package for Joel Embiid. They have something right now that can at least go get an all-NBA player. I'm looking at the Eastern Conference, though. Trae Young, Pascal Siakam, DeJounte Murray. Where does this rank in top trios in the East? The Milwaukee Bucks, Giannis, Middleton, and Drew.
Clears.
Take Giannis.
The Bucks. The Celtics, Tatum, Brown,
Celtics.
and
Doesn't really
Porzingis.
matter who's the third guy. I'm taking
Porzingis. Cool.
Could have been
Derek
White. Still.
The Sixers with Embiid, Harden, and Maxey.
Sixers.
You're still taking it.
Maxey be whipping their ass.
Yeah.
The Cavaliers with Mitchell, Garland, and Mobley.
I think I'm
I'll
taking
go
the Cavs.
Cleveland.
It's a closer one, but you
It is
still
close, but
rock with Cleveland's
close for
versatility.
sure.
It's a better fit between the three players.
I'm projecting on Garland and Mobley getting better, so I'd go with them guys.
The New York Knicks, Jalen Brunson, Randall, and RJ.
This is the one.
This is where it gets dicey.
Yeah. Siakam's
Brunson-
better than RJ.
It's
Siakam's
DeJounte
better than Randall.
than RJ.
Siakam's better than Randall.
Siakam's
Ja-
arguably the
both
best
of them,
player
yeah.
here between him and Brunson. I think it's basically like the 24th and 23rd best players
So I
in the
guess
NBA.
it's DeJounte, RJ.
Ooh.
DeJounte versus
Yeah.
Randall. and
Randall
then-
in the playoffs just dropped.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
off.
forgot Trae Young existed.
Yeah, that's
My
what I'm
fault.
thinking. Trae Young versus
Sorry.
Jalen.
If Trae Young's
I'll
on the
take-
Hawks, you're
I'll go
taking the
Atlanta.
Hawks trio
I'll go
over
Atlanta.
the Knicks. Come
Probably.
on now.
It's close.
I'm
He
sorry.
went to the
about
second round, man.
Listen,
I
Jalen Brunson
completely
gets
blanked
his
on
Jalen Brunson gets his flowers. That's a lot closer. That's the closest matchup here.
Yeah, that's where I think that's where Atlanta falls around that area.
The Miami Heat, Bam Adebayo, Jimmy Butler.
Taking Miami.
It's
Who's the
Miami.
third? Just the
Hero.
two is better than the
Yes.
three.
Yeah, I'll take Miami.
I'll get
Even if they
give me
don't
Hero.
get no Dame.
Yeah,
Give
comfortably
me
taking
Tommy
Miami.
Vasquez.
Chicago Bulls, Levine, Zach, and Javon Carter.
Ah, Javon Carter. Shout out to Javon.
Say Vooch, bro. Respect.
Vooch.
He played good.
Say
last
Patrick
year.
Williams.
I would.
I think I would lean the Hawks.
This is where
I'd
you
go with
gotta-
the Hawks.
Yeah, you probably go Atlanta because of Siakam addition. Zach tough though.
I mean, look,
the
Pascal
tier.
Siakam is a top 25 player and a borderline All-NBA guy. It's just the fit here is really the big holdup. And for Quinn Snyder, he needs to build his team a specific way.
It's a fact.
Send us DeJounte in the 4 first rounders. We'll give him Zach.
4 first. Jesus Christ.
That's a great fit.
They even got picks.
Great fit, man.
They just gave them up for DeJounte.
Man, the
So,
Hawks.
so they're ranked what? 6? We had them ranked like 6th,
Seven.
5th,
Yeah.
around there.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, listen, if Trae Young is truly that guy,
What about
that guy that they're comparing to Luka, that everybody seems to think that he's on a similar level to,
Who thinks that?
Gilbert Arenas, Draymond
Wow,
Green,
Trae.
you know, they all
But the
think
guys
that.
who play.
Well,
Uh,
guys,
sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
guys
Draymond
that are-
plays against Trae.
Sure.
if you're interviewing Trae Young, you can say, well, you average the same amount of assists and points. Why aren't you talking about with Luka Doncic? But there's quite clearly a gap given.
Oh, Draymond's a smart
We know
guy.
it's a gap.
Given
but I'm
one
saying
is-
that if Trae Young is that guy who he once led his team to the conference finals, since that time you've added an All-Star, you added an All-NBA player with Siakam. There's expectations.
I'm not saying Dre's right, but Dre's a smart guy when it comes to basketball. He does know his basketball. So, but I'm not saying I agree. You can agree. You can disagree.
Dre's a great interviewer. Let's leave it at that.
Hey,
I'm surprised you didn't say the Nets. McHale, Cam,
Claxton.
It's a dog shit trio. That's a hella number 3s on as a trio.
Hey, you get a
Into
number
it,
1 instead of
baby.
Cam
Oh,
Johnson.
fire.
We're talking.
Yeah.
That's tough. Like a guy like KD, maybe.
Nuts. He was just there. I'm not moved by that shit
I
at
know,
all.
I
Yeah.
know.
Atlanta, fuck it, right? Do it. I thought Siakam would have been nice in like Indiana or something.
That would have been tough.
I thought
That'd be
that would have been nice.
Now they
But
get Jarris.
Yeah.
Yeah, what we
so-
topping?
They got Obi.
Okay.
So what is
Come
the
back to the-
perfect Pascal Siakam
Westbrook.
destination via trade?
Sacramento.
Ooh, best Siakam fit.
I think-
Siakam and Sabonis, another weird one.
It's a better one than Capella and Siakam. Sabonis
I
can
do
hit him
like,
on those cuts.
I do like Indy. You got Miles who could shoot. I'm trying to think of bigs. Like
I think
5 that
Indiana
can
is
shoot.
perfect. Like literally perfect. You got
Yeah.
Hallie. You got shooters on the wings. You got Miles Turner who can space the floor. I like that one a lot. Other teams, I mean,
Mavericks.
the Mavericks also is another
Mavericks,
one.
yeah.
Damn. Top of my dome ski.
I'm gonna be honest. If the Mavericks get Siakam, it's over for the West.
Over for the West is nuts,
Over
but they're
for the
definitely they
West.
walk up to one of the favorites. Over for
sure.
the West
Yeah.
is just
No,
so
they
insane to me.
they're in the top 3
Like
with
just
the
to
Lakers.
say that
Nuggets,
is just
yeah,
like
Suns.
to be able to say that openly and be
With
okay
the
with
Luka
it.
Lakers.
MVP, baby.
Okay, the favorite. You're picking the favorite to win. Congrats, you made a hot take.
I don't look at sportsbooks. Sorry,
you're a liar. You're a degenerate gambler.
I don't look at sportsbooks. Now, I haven't gambled in.
Were you not betting on preseason last night, bro?
No.
Okay, I doubt it.
I don't.
G was. Guy's a freak.
Was he?
Yeah. I told him
Really?
Jay sent over 30 yards. Somebody took that over. My goodness.
I don't think. Yeah, outside of Indiana and the Kings, there isn't many great fits.
Yeah, Pascal is a specific player you need to build around.
OKC would be good. Yeah, because then that'd be actually fire.
Shout out.
Shout out to 5. Siakam at the 4. They play Williams at the 3. Giddey's the only problem. You know, the numbers with Giddey off the court are actually like a lot better, right? And he can't shoot.
Send him to the Knicks.
Where's he gonna play?
Anywhere. Okay. It doesn't matter.
Make it work. 6 man.
Make it work. Figure it out. Yeah, no, that's
you believe those numbers?
Huh? You just told me about the DeJounte numbers.
Where's the sample?
No, I'm just asking. Do you believe those numbers?
From what I watched,
you think OKC's better without Giddey?
I think numbers are weird because I think when you look at on and off numbers and the team isn't good when they're on the court, but then you watch the game, you're like, no, wait a minute, this team still is all right. I don't know. I think Giddey's good with them. I think he's just the jumper is the problem, and his no bag. It's fucking awful. He needs to figure out that bag.
It's honestly he's one of the more impressive players because he could get to the rim with no back.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Like, it's hilarious that he can do it. But no, I think they're still a good team. With
passing gravity.
If we're ranking Pascal Siakam top destinations,
where's he rank as a player?
I think he's a top 35 player.
What?
You just called him All-NBA.
I was going to say 25.
Yeah, I bet he can be. He's All-NBA.
God damn.
I'm saying he's top 30 player.
Top 30, I think he's a firm, flat,
comfortable. 25 feels more like
35
tight.
The high end is like 17, high teens.
You cannot get to 17 with Siakam.
I think I could.
At that point, you're pushing.
Pascal versus Paul George.
Paul George
I'll take Paul
comfortably
George.
better.
Right, but some people maybe can make the case.
Stop making it a some people thing. We're talking about us four at the table. Right. Yeah.
He's, to me, around the 24th.
I'd say 22, 28 is his.
You said he got to 17.
No, because he was talking about other people. He was trying to add other people. That's what it was.
On like a Pascal Siakam 2022 season.
Like his ceiling 17, his
games.
floor is 30 or some shit.
Or 48 maybe that year.
Did you ever believe in that team?
No, of course not. But they almost took Philadelphia to 7 games.
You mean Philly choked a couple games?
As they usually do.
Well, the Hawks aren't a great fit for Pascal Siakam. And we named 3 teams that I think are the top 3 teams for Pascal Siakam in terms of fit, destination-wise. The Mavericks, for me, are number 1. If they can find a way to land Pascal Siakam,
everyone in the Mavericks.
Kyrie Irving, Luka Doncic, Pascal Siakam. They got your boy, Grant Williams.
They do.
They got your boy.
Why they need Siakam? They got Grant.
Because we know Siakam's that man. And that could be their center. They don't have a center.
You're being so unfun. Number 1 destination should be OKC. Let's see somebody new.
Number 1 is Dallas. Number 2 is OKC.
No, number 1 is
fit
OKC.
Fit-wise, I think Indiana's number 1.
Oh, fit-wise.
Fit-wise,
yeah, but for fun vibes,
because OKC gets, now the timeline gets pushed up.
Now
it's like, all right, let's get it 4 seed.
Stack the decks like a Kevin Durant fan would. I just want to see Luka win that
championship, baby.
Of course you do. You're a Luka fan. You're a KD fan.
I'm an Anthony Edwards fan.
Anthony Edwards fan. What other
James Harden fan.
James Harden fan.
Now we're kind of falling off.
Yeah, we fell off a long time ago.
Oh, so you admit KD has not fallen off.
KD's still a top 10 player in the world.
It don't sound like it by the way you talk about it.
No, but we went from KD to Luka to Ant. That's a fall off.
Big.
I mean,
Harden.
Stop.
You know Ant's going he's soon.
Stop. We're talking about today. Yeah, stop. Yeah, we're talking about today.
Yeah, and today I think that he will be then.
Yeah, but today that's a fall off.
Today he will be.
That's a fall off. It goes from KD, Luka to Ant to fall off.
So the top 3 is the Mavericks, the Pacers, and OKC. OKC is good. Shea, Giddey, Williams, Siakam, Chet. I like that.
Someone's got to go. Someone's got to go if they trade Siakam.
And a plethora of picks. Throw them shits out.
That's true. They do have fucking 40 picks in the next 10 years.
Try to keep Case.
Kenrich Williams.
You could throw Trey Mann, Lou Dortz, Jalen Williams to back up, and 4 first round.
I thought DeAndre Hunter and AJ Griffin.
Yeah. Really?
I think so.
In the 4 first round picks?
I guess if I'm getting.
Don't sleep.
What picks am I getting? What
Listen,
OKC
we got a plethora of picks. You can get anything you want, bro. Just nothing 2024. Okay.
Riv has been locked into Team USA recently. He watches all the exhibition games. I'll be watching Monday Night Raw. You know, watching Seth Rollins. I don't know if you've seen the entrance early on. Seth Rollins, he was wearing the yellow boots, the Crocs.
Oh, the ones Lil Durk had on in the music video?
But Seth Rollins popularized it first on Raw. You know, Seth Rollins came out.
Lil Durk did that music video 2 months ago.
Oh, really? I had no idea.
Of course
I saw Rollins wear it first. Sorry.
Right.
But you've been watching Team USA. Which young player on Team USA do you think is going to learn the most from this experience, take it into next season, and ascend their game to a different level?
So you want me to go select and USA team?
Just USA team.
Okay, well, I'm going to do select too also.
Because you're going to pick Kate Cunningham.
Well, I was going to say also Jalen Green. I think Jalen Green also is going to get a lot of,
I love Jalen Green.
Jalen Green's also going to get a lot of confidence from this. Playing against guards like Tyrese Halliburton, Jalen Brunson, that just only up levels your game. And then playing next to Cade, a point guard like him, he's going to be playing with Amon, Fred VanVleet. He was playing a lot. If you saw in the scrimmages, he's playing a lot of off ball. Wasn't really getting the ball too much. He was cutting. He was running on the fast break. So that's going to help him a little bit in the season. Obviously, Cade, don't need to talk too much about it. USA, I feel like you guys are all going to go Ant, so I'm going to go a different pick here. Not to say Ant's not going to learn a lot from this experience, but I think Boncaro is the one guy that's really going to learn a lot. A rookie, going into after his rookie year, going to play FIBA with one of the best players in the world, Tyrese, Jalen Brunson, Ann Edwards, Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, Bobby Portis. I had to add him just because, Chicago Bull. But Boncaro is going to learn so much from this experience as a young player, just pace and space, evolving his game. I think this is the one guy, especially playing with point guards like Hallie, Jalen Brunson, you're going to be able to learn too much. And then coaching tree of Steve Kerr, Spo, blanking Mark Few, like it's from Gonzaga. You didn't know that. There's so many coaches in the coaching tree. He was staring at me. That's why. There's so many coaches to learn from. It's going to be an exciting experience for him. He's going to bring a lot to an Orlando team that's ready to compete, that's ready to make that next transition into the play-in, the playoffs. So this is something he can bring as a leader to this team that needs a lot of that juice.
Now everybody is expecting me to say the one guy, the man, the myth, the legend, Anthony the GOAT Edwards.
Anthony the GOAT Edwards.
This is year 3, right? In year 3, Dwayne Wade. Oh, damn. This would have worked. It didn't work. Year 3, Dwayne Wade won finals.
Yeah, he's a legend.
MVP.
One of the top.
That's a real legend, man. Myth.
Year 2, he almost went to the finals too.
ECF. That's a real man, myth, legend.
If he didn't get hurt that year, they're going to the finals and going head to head San Antonio.
Man, myth, legend.
NBA was much weaker than I think.
He played. Hold on.
If you put Edwards on those,
he played the Detroit Pistons.
I think Edwards.
He played the Detroit Pistons.
If you put Edwards on the Heat and he gets those many foul calls,
has Ant dunked on LeBron yet? Tatum did rookie year. ECF.
I just told him he wasn't the first.
This guy tried to say that the comp D-Wade play was weak as if he didn't play the Pistons.
They had
you
no
see
offense.
the agenda? They had the best defense damn near ever in our era.
Now listen,
he played the Pacers.
Anthony Edwards, I think, will take a significant leap next year.
How significant?
Is his BPM going to improve, though?
I think all the Raptors, the net on-off, I think all of them improve. But listen, I'm going to give another name that's not Anthony Edwards because, everybody's expecting that. And I've been reading a lot about Team USA. I've been reading about
Jaren Jackson.
I've been reading about players that other players have said, this guy's standing out. And Rev, you're correct. That's Jaren Jackson Jr.
Won the award, didn't he?
Yeah, Jaren Jackson Jr. I mean, this past season, 19 points per game, 7 rebounds, defensive player of the year. I mean, with the trajectory he's on, he's going to be viewed as, if he can continue this trajectory, one of the best interior defenders of this era. I believe that. The knock I've always had on the Grizzlies was the half-court offense. And I don't know if Riv remembers, we've had a lot of debates on this table, but whenever we've talked about the Grizzlies, I've said the guy that has to take the biggest leap, we've said, is Jaren Jackson Jr. If Jaren Jackson Jr. can take his game from, I'm not replacement all-star level, I'm talking about an all-NBA level player. I'm talking about the offense becoming 23 a game, efficient from 3. He's a dominant interior presence on the offensive side. Then I think the Grizzlies take a serious leap, and that big 3 of Ja, JJJ, and Desmond Bane becomes a lot more menacing. And I think Jaren Jackson, with Ja Morant being out the first 25 games, he's going to have a chance to enforce himself as an offensive player. And I think he can learn from this experience and take it to the regular season. And if the Grizzlies, with JJJ taking the lead, Desmond Bane getting better, Ja Morant adding somebody like Marcus Smart, the heart and soul to a team, I think Memphis can be much improved. And then I can finally put them in a tier with the other top teams in the West as a legit playoff team. But I think this team's future and potential rides on Jaren Jackson Jr.
Taking Jaren over Bam?
I am.
You heard that, Riv?
We had our conversation about
Don't wink
at
me,
no
bro.
comment at that? They were arguing for like 30 minutes the other day about
my only problem with his argument is that he makes it a clearing. as if Jaren Jackson just comfortably clears Bam Adebayo.
No, it's not a clear.
He does. He says he's taking him 10 times and he's not even thinking about it. That's my problem.
If you're not thinking about it,
you want to know how I view it, Dehls? We're in a dynasty. We're in a dynasty league. We're taking players for the future. I'm looking at JJJ and Bam. Oh yeah, I'm taking Jaren 10 times out of 10. That's
that's not how you were phrasing it.
No, that's what I mean in my context.
That was Bam 26,
25, 26, something like that.
Jaren's like 22.
Him and Tatum are around the same age.
So let me ask you something, Riv. Justin Jefferson, are you taking him 10 times out of 10 over any other receiver in the NFL?
Okay, but you know why? You know why I'm going to take him in Dehls knows because I think he's better than every receiver I've ever seen. That's the difference.
But that's not a good comp because Jettis is on pace to break every record known to man.
I know, but what I'm saying is that although he's taking Jettas into him, it's a clearing. I mean, you can't forget about Devontae Adams when healthy, about Cooper Kupp when healthy, about Jamar Chase when he's healthy.
But he's put up better numbers than all those
Here's
guys.
the difference. This is why your analogy is flawed because has Devontae Adams been an anchor for a team that's went to 2 finals? No.
But has Jefferson been?
That's my thing.
He hasn't even been an anchor for a team that won a playoff game
No,
yet.
but that's my thing. Football is so completely different. And you're comparing Jaren Jackson, a player who's amazing defensive. We can all agree one of the best rim protectors in basketball, an anchor for the Memphis Grizzlies, to a guy who's quite literally, the anchor for a Miami Heat team that's went to the finals, the ECF, and then the finals. Yes, he lost. Jaren Jackson lost in the first round.
Well, I think, if the Heat face the Lakers in the first round, they'll lose
What
too.
the hell does that matter? That's what we're doing now?
Competition matters. Wow. It does. Wow. What I'm telling you, though, is that you're taking, even though Jettas is close to other receivers in the skill set right now in the league, I think Jefferson
is he cooking, John?
Not at all. I think Jefferson is the best receiver in the league, no doubt about it. But I also think there's other receivers closest to him. But the reason why Jettas is clearly above and beyond over guys like Cooper Kupp and Devontae Adams is because of the age factor. I'm just saying, with me, when it comes to Jaren Jackson Jr. and Bam Adebayo, given that JJJ is 3 years younger, I would take him 10 times out of 10. Yes, I would.
Cross-sport comparison,
he never did.
The most receiving yards ever by a wide receiver. Second, you have Randy Moss. 700 yards above him is Justin Jefferson.
In the first seasons?
First 3 seasons.
Okay, but Justin Jefferson...
To compare Justin Jefferson and Jaren Jackson is crazy.
Justin Jefferson last year was the best receiver in football.
Jaren Jackson is not the best defender in basketball.
Right now, he just won Defensive Player of the Year.
That award does not mean the best defender.
He's a better defender than Bam Adebayo.
Justin Jefferson, within 3 years, established himself as the best wide receiver, arguably weapon in football.
Who was the best wide receiver last season?
Cooper Kupp.
Jetta was also in the conversation.
No, 2022.
Oh, Justin Jefferson.
Okay, who was the best wide receiver in 2021?
Cooper Kupp. Who was in the conversation?
Who was the best wide receiver in 2020?
He was a rookie. Jettas was a rookie.
Right. So you're telling me 1 year Jefferson has been the best wide receiver?
But when you come
into
the league
3 years in a row,
he was top 5 his rookie year, bro.
Jaren Jackson
yes, he's top 5.
He was top his rookie
year. But I'm
year
saying that it's only been 1 year where he's truly been the best wide receiver. I'm taking Jettas because of age and because I think he is better.
I'm
taking Jaren Jackson over Bam.
What stopped Jettas is being a rookie top 5. Cooper Kupp historic season, and then he was the best.
Jaren Jackson has no case whatsoever being the best player of his position. Jettas did by his first year in the league.
Okay, sure. This isn't a Jaren Jackson Jr.
And nobody had Kupp number 1 going into last year.
This brought up the analogy.
People said Jamar Chase was number 1.
I know, that was nuts.
I said no. He said
why
in terms of
better than Bam.
It's not that Jaren is comparable to Jefferson. Jefferson is leaps and bounds in his position the best. We're comparing the age factor and why you would clearly take a player.
But also,
over another
Jettas
player.
is 22 and Kupp and Tay are like 30. This is a 3-year difference between Bam and
You
Jaren.
never made that. You never made that apparent though when you
crazy,
first was talking about the conversation. You never made that apparent.
You never
about
asked
age.
me. Did you?
Because you were talking about. You said generational rim protector.
It was a generational rim protector.
But we talked about we already have Gobert who's generational rim protector.
He's also what, John?
Generational.
AD who's generational.
He's yes. And
pause.
That
you lied about age.
Hold
on.
His
wait a minute.
defensive impact.
Hold on. Because this age shit is
23 and 25.
He's 2 years.
Jaren Jackson turns 24 in September. Bam is 26. Where's
when does he
date
turn 27?
Next year. There is no big age factor.
July 18th.
What's July next
How do you
summer.
know his birthday on the top of your head?
Because he's a big fan of Bam. We know that.
He's got pro.
This whole age factor is not even a big gap.
It's 2 years. It's like a year and a half, honestly.
Jaren turns 24 in September. He's already more injury prone than Bam. And that's a fact. Bam, it turns 27 next summer. And then Jaren's going to turn 26.
They're 2 years.
Yeah, they're two years
apart.
Like, what are we doing? Why are you making a big age thing?
The age for you has always been a big thing.
When rookies come in.
When a rookie's 20 versus 22, but now it doesn't
No. Age, no. Dehls, he's capping. Age is a difference. No, look, and I'm explaining. Age is a difference when a 24-year-old rookie comes in as opposed to a 20-year-old. That's when I'm like, shit looks funny.
So let me ask you, both at their best, you think Bam Adebayo, both at their best?
I think Jaren's a higher peak.
Okay, and I'm taking Jaren 10 times out of 10 off that higher peak. I believe he hasn't got.
Okay,
I think
that's fine.
That's
going off potential.
That's going off potential.
I've never once stated Jaren Jackson Jr. currently today is clearly a better player than Bam.
Did you not just say that?
No, I've never said that.
Did you just say I'm not going to take Jaren over Bam 10 times out of 10?
Yes, I've said it because off the peak, not off of what they
potential,
are today.
not
potential, not peak.
That's what I've said.
Because Jaren can literally not his potential.
That's why I gave you the Dynasty League analogy. That's why
because he's still a streaky ass shooter.
I don't think he ever made that clear that he's going this based off potential.
Now he's making it clear. He never made it clear.
You never asked me
because you said you lost me a generational rim protector. That's when I stopped. I was like, "You're done. You're trolling."
Is he not his prime? He's DPOY. He just won DPOY. 20.
So is he a better rim protector than Gobert or AD?
I asked him. He said AD was a better rim protector.
I mean, Gobert. Yeah,
he's three generations.
Is Jaren Jackson a better defender than Bam Adebayo?
Yes, overall he is.
Overall?
So let's say overall he is. All them defensive advanced analytics you love to use, Jaren Jackson is clearly over Bam Adebayo.
In rim protection, rim deterrence. We're talking about guarding in space, guarding the pick and roll, guarding on the perimeter, manning the paint. Mind you, Bam has no help. Bam has no help whatsoever.
Even without Moran playing the four.
Even without Steven
and Jaren Jackson's in the bottom of the league in defensive difficulty. So don't even get me started on if he guards one-on-one matchups. Because Bam is better at that.
Even without the help of Steven Adams, Jaren Jackson Jr. still anchors defensive lines for the Grizzlies at a high level.
Yes, one lineup.
He's also foul prone. He's also foul prone and has that impact on defense.
Matters because he can't play center full time.
It matters that he get better at that
per game. Oftentimes he's off the floor.
And Steven Adams helps a lot. Like a lot. Bam was out there with Kevin Love. What are we doing, bro? And they were anchoring an elite defense,
the one
bro.
Player in the league.
Who was Jaren out there in the playoffs with, bro? He was with their Santi Aldama. Who was he?
Dylan Brooks.
They lost in round one. We all had the Grizzlies.
Tillman?
You act like he's played.
Wait,
you stop.
Locked up Anthony Davis.
Tillman you can't use. Tillman you can't use.
Tillman
you can't use. And you act like he played with all his playoff series without Steven Adams.
Listen, Bam Adebayo, I think, is better at guarding in space.
I think he's a better overall defender.
Although Jaren Jackson, his length allows him to recover
for sure
more often.
Even though Bam's athleticism allows him to recover.
I think the gap between the rim deterrence and what they can do on the perimeter.
That's more important. So I get what you're saying.
Jaren Jackson is better. I think Jaren Jackson, yes, Bam Adebayo is an elite defender guarding perimeter. Jaren Jackson, if he's not elite, he's great. For his position, he's a great perimeter defender.
Jaren Jackson is an elite rim protector. He's an elite, and rim protection is the most important.
He's not anything below average.
I agree. Elite rim protection is the most important defensive skill in basketball for manning an elite defense. So that's why if you want to say Jaren, you would rather Jaren. I understand that. But if we're talking overall defense, which takes into account everything on the defensive side of the ball, Bam Adebayo is better than Jaren Jackson because he's not a below average rim protector. He's not, and he's elite at everything outside the paint. No, he's not. But Jaren Jackson's not an elite in switches. He's not elite on the perimeter. Bam is that.
Yeah, he can't be a rim protector when he's guarding on the perimeter and then running.
He can't be a rim protector when he has to go on a pick, guard Trae Young, and then got to get back to the rim because Tyler Herro's going to get burned. He cannot do that.
And beyond that, we know Jaren Jackson's offering more resistance at the rim. Opponents shoot like 8%
worse. For sure. But he also fouls a lot.
But he averages 4 fouls a game for his career, the regular and postseason.
He's gotten better in the last 2 seasons.
No, he really hasn't.
He really has, though.
Barely.
He has.
And the reason that matters is because
3.8.
He can't play center full time, and Bam Adebayo can. Bam Adebayo is a better playmaker. He's more productive.
They also have Steven Adams, to be fair.
Better question. Can you trust Jaren for a full multiple playoff runs back to the back end of the East West WCF finals to hold down a defense like Bam?
No.
At this point.
We haven't seen it yet.
With his foul troubles, with his issues being center full-time, can you trust it?
I'm going to answer this in context. Yes, matchup dependent. In the West, if you're going up against Jokic and Anthony Davis, no.
Bam has seen Embiid.
This past playoff run, it was
the Bucks.
This past playoff series, the first round was the
Giannis.
Bucks.
He went Giannis
and Lopez.
And then he had to go out and guard Brunson and Randall in spaces.
He put
then he went out.
Second,
they put him on Jalen Brunson one game. I mean, Jalen Brown one game. That's how versatile he is.
The second round, it was Mitchell Robinson that you had to really guard in.
Randall, he's guarding Randall.
Yeah, I think Jaren Jackson could stay out of foul trouble in that series for sure. And then in the conference finals, it's 2 for the Celtics. Al Horford and Rob. I think he can stay out of foul trouble.
No, this is Jaren Jackson on the Heat, so that means he's the only big man out there.
Well, I think with Eric Spoelstra's coaching, I trust him.
You mean Mr. Foul-A-Lot?
Yeah, with Eric Spoelstra, the best coach in the NBA, I trust
against Giannis in Brook. You're lying.
With Eric Spoelstra's coaching, I trust him.
Eric Spoelstra is going to be the 6th defender on the floor.
Wait, so hold on. Let me ask you something. I mean, Eric Spoelstra was able to revive Kevin Love's career again. He was able.
He didn't revive Kevin Love's career. That's bullshit.
What you mean he didn't revive his career? He was thrown to the dirt with Cleveland.
And that was a mistake. That's why
I feel like that was the Cavs fuck up more. But
maybe that was a mistake. Maybe that wasn't.
Kevin Love was good the year before.
Hold up, John.
Here we go.
You last year you had the Grizzlies as a contender. Why? Because of the prowess of Ja only. Why did Jaren Jackson intrigue you at all? As to the reason why you had the Grizzlies as a contender?
Well, the reason the Grizzlies were not a true front runner was because of Jaren's.
You had them as a true front runner, though.
I had them as the
You had multiple
lists.
You had them beating the Lakers, didn't you?
I had them a lower end contender.
I know we did, but
for hating purposes, though, for sure.
I know, but John legitimately was high on the Grizzlies as a championship contending
best team in the West.
4th best team.
Yes.
So,
because Warriors, Suns, Grizzlies.
Because of Ja Morant.
Oh, you picked the Grizzlies to beat the Warriors. Never forget.
When?
The year they played. You did.
A year and a half ago?
Yeah, you did. I'm just letting you know you're high.
Because of Ja Morant, because of Ja Morant's prowess.
I wasn't on the show a year and a half ago.
He wasn't?
No.
Okay. Wrong year. I'm sorry.
You're thinking of someone else.
He might have, though.
He might have, though, right?
But Jaren, what intrigued you about Jaren Jackson that you had the Grizzlies so high as the 4th best team in the West as a contender?
The reason I had the Grizzlies that high, dog, was because of Ja Morant being an elite player performer.
Really?
Yes.
That's it.
And an awesome
You're lying through your teeth. You're lying through your teeth.
Awesome. Jaren's always number 2 when you're talking about the Grizzlies.
You know what I'm going to do today? It's probably not going to be out by the time of this episode.
Okay.
I'm going to look back at your content, and anytime you've talked about the Grizzlies, we're going to see if it was just because of Ja Morant. Because I'm sure there was a bunch of Jaren Jackson mentions.
Well, if you want to talk about Jaren, come on.
Listen, if you
talked about Jaren,
of course I did.
Come on,
of course he did. So why you just say it was just Ja?
It was Ja Morant and then their elite defense.
You're saying elite defense and not saying
the elite defense. Man by who?
By Jaren for sure.
Jaren Jackson, Dylan Brooks,
Steven
Dylan Brooks, who you threw him to the trash.
Steven Adams for sure. No, the Grizzlies.
You said he was a net negative for the Grizzlies
on offense.
By the time they get to the Lakers series, totally.
No, he's a net negative on offense.
Listen, I'm looking back at the content.
John Conchar.
And I'm gonna see what you what.
He's on their lineups for one of their best defenses.
I know, but he's talking about John Conchar more than Jaren Jackson Jr.
No, this is their high minute lineup.
I named John Conchar as the 4th best defender.
No, listen, John. I'm gonna look back and listen. So I wanted you to just be up and honest in the court right now because you're under oath.
Perjury.
Tell the truth.
Uh-oh.
Because I'm gonna look back at the film and see what you said exactly.
So is Jaren a better player than Bam?
No.
Defensively, he's better.
No, I didn't actually. I think is Bam a better player?
Bam Adebayo is more reliable for a team like the Heat and contending teams, just because he's more.
Why? Can we just get
is Jaren a better basketball player than Bam?
Yes, within the Miami Heat's construct and organizational structure,
bro.
I think it. Yeah, you can.
Joel, you can say Bam's a better player now, but you think in a year or two, Jaren will be better. I'm
talking about right now.
That's a better valid answer.
Offensively,
Bam
Adebayo,
is better.
The playmaking,
even though the shooting, Jaren.
Listen, I think Bam is great player. I
know you do.
I don't think
you're casual.
What you mean? I just told you I do. So why don't you think I do?
You're sometimes lying, and then the smirk doesn't help.
You do lie.
The smirk doesn't help.
Personally, the real
nice smile.
The real question is Jaren Jackson or Draymond Green, not Draymond or not Bam versus
what?
Bam Adebayo.
Why is that the question?
Draymond is more valuable than Bam defensively, without a doubt.
As a player.
Wait, the real question is who?
Jaren Jackson versus Draymond, not Jaren versus Bam.
What's the question though?
But why is that the question over Bam?
I think Jaren's more.
What?
He's closer to Bam. He's closer to Draymond than he is Bam.
Is Draymond not close to Bam as a player?
Wait, you talk about on defense?
Because there's talk about being in a specific situation. You put Draymond on 25 teams in the league, and his offensive impact is completely.
Of course, yeah, we know that.
Mitigated.
Or maybe it gets better.
You put Draymond Green in Miami. They're the best defense ever.
With Bam or without Bam?
Doesn't even matter.
There's an argument for Draymond. There's an argument
defensive player in the league.
With Bam.
What?
There's an argument for Draymond being the most impactful guy out of all
There
three.
shouldn't be an
totally
argument. Draymond's the most impactful defender
But
in basketball.
offensively, Draymond's not close to Bam.
When did you become a Heat fan?
He's been in for a minute.
The Suns, Nuggets.
No, Bam. He's been a Bam guy.
He didn't even want to pick a. He didn't even want to pick a win in the finals.
Yeah, that was insane.
Who had the Heat missing the playoffs altogether? I seem like a Heat fan, but what I'm getting at here
You had the
is
Heat missing the playoffs, or
Bam's
me? What are you
arguably the best defender in the league, surely the most important to his team, averaging 20 and 10, and he has been one of the best passers at the position, just like Draymond.
He's not a better passer than Draymond, though.
Yeah, he's not, but he's a better playmaker, better scorer, and
That's
altogether,
arguable.
I
He's
feel
a
like
better
Playmaker's
playmaker.
arguable.
He's a better player because he
if you
scores
want to
more?
add youth into the discussion, he's more durable than Draymond too.
Oh,
On
yeah.
top of those two things,
You would still take the smartest defensive player in the basketball.
well, I would rather have Bam, and I think Bam's a better player. I got Bam top 25, Draymond's like 40.
Well, it's in a vacuum. It's different. Draymond for the Warriors is different than Draymond on the Hawks.
You know, when Draymond's off the court, we're like the 30th best defense in the world.
Right. And
But when he's on the court, we're like the 5th, 6th best defense.
Similar
in
story
basketball.
for Miami.
Okay, I just
Really?
want
What are
you
the
to know that.
numbers? I want to know. Do you have them?
No, not right now.
Okay.
I
don't know if I believe- I don't know.
those are.
Yeah, I know
Draymond
that
is
for
the
Draymond.
best defender in the league, but Bam is one of the 2 or 3 best.
I'm with you on Bam being top
and the
5
gap
defender in
between them
basketball.
defensively is not large.
No, Bam is a top 5 defender in basketball. I know that for a fact. That's not down in my mind.
The
So is
offensive
Jaren.
gap is
No,
large.
Jaren, Bam, top 5. When you talk about Draymond Green, that man is number 1, and it's like
I'm not talking
the only
about
one
defense.
close
We're
to him.
talking about
I
who's
feel
the best
like
player.
is AD. That's the only one defense.
Okay, who's the best player defensively? Draymond Green is the best defender out of the two. Offensively, with the situation, listen, you make a sound point. Any of the weaknesses that got exploited from opposing teams to the Warriors last season in the playoffs, specifically the Kings series, I want to talk about, and the Lakers, a little bit. Does Bam Adebayo help any of that?
No.
So to me, I just don't really see how Jaren is a conversation with Draymond, but Bam Adebayo is in this tier alone, and he shouldn't be compared to any of the two.
That's not what I was quite saying.
That
I may
is
have
what
gave
you
off
said.
that impression. I think Jaren is closer to Draymond than he is Bam when ranking players.
So, but you think Bam is over Draymond comfortably for you?
Comfortably.
That's literally what I said.
Is
that not what I said?
These guys argue
I'm
like
sorry.
an old couple, man. John, who's your breakout player for Team USA, bro? This segment into a 30-minute Jaren Jackson versus.
Ridiculous.
I started this. I'll be honest. I was the one who instigated it.
I continued it. I accentuated it. My breakout for Team USA, there is none. Quite frankly,
it's always something with this guy.
all of these
Answer
guys,
the damn question.
all of these guys have A, broken out, or B, they're going into their sophomore year like Walker or Paolo. To me, the 2 guys to look out for are Brandon Ingram and Austin Reeves. Reeves is trying to build off his playoff performance versus the Nuggets, where he looks very good, but you got to sustain that level of play. You got a lot of people like me saying he could be the 3rd best player in a championship team. I believe, and I feel better about that now, but he's still got to continue developing as a shooter, getting closer to the 40% mark, and he's got to continue growing towards a ball handler going on 25 years old. For Brandon Ingram, meanwhile, he's a guy that's worked with Paolo on that mid-range game. Brandon Ingram's got the skill set to be a top 15, borderline top 10 player in the game, but he's got to continue growing to as a leader because we know Zion inherently. I'm sorry, Drew. I hate shitting on Zion when you're not here, but the reality is he's played 25% of his games the last couple of years. So Brandon Ingram does have to take that step forward as a leader and kind of the face of the Pelicans, given Zion's not really going to be on the floor. You can't rely on it.
And we saw that down the stretch. Brandon Ingram moved Riv, number 1 BI hater, turned him into a supporter. Yeah. I do think Austin Reeves could be the 3rd best player in championship team if he has 2 top 10 guys. To be fair, right?
Or 5 at the best, you said.
2 top 15.
If you put Austin Reeves with Siakam and Trae Young, I don't think that's a championship team, right?
No fucking shot.
I think like individual play wise, Austin Reeves is the clear answer. He showed in the playoffs down the stretch, that Grizzlies series, really all of them. He was fantastic. I think the one game was a game 1 against Memphis where he has 14 points in the 4th quarter. He showed real improvement towards the middle of the season. He was, I don't want to say a joke, but Drew loved him and was having him up OD, and we're kind of relaxed. But as the season went on, he went and showed that he could be a great contributor to a championship team.
Most improved player?
Sorry, I found the on-off ratings for Bam Adebayo.
What is it?
Okay. So when he's on the court, there are 2022, 2023, 115 offensive rating, off 110. But defensively,
it's probably drastic.
Defensively on 113, off 115.
What's the BPM?
So off the court, they're 2 points worse.
Yes, but
I thought it'd be worse.
Offensively, they're 5 point worse.
That's surprising. I thought it'd almost be opposite.
The plus minus in of itself, Draymond plus 14, Bam plus 7.
7 points higher. Best defender in the world.
That's nuts. But team-wise, like, I think individually Austin Reeves makes the biggest leap, but that's because a lot of these guys, like, Brunson's like that, Ant's like that.
You off one more time. Yeah. But in the playoffs, defensively, when he's on the court, 112 off 117.
That's source. Offensive rating?
Yeah. No, it's defensive. Rating. That's the playoffs.
5 points.
Riv, what's your source?
Huh? PBP stats.
Okay.
You want to steal it?
Is that MLA approved?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know either.
What are you saying?
But I would say if you're looking at it like a player that can elevate their team, Paolo was going to be my pick. Riv took it. But for all the things he said, the fact that he's going to be around all of these elite guys, these elite coaches, and we're, I think, all expecting the Magic to take another jump, get into that play-in conversation. They were playing some good basketball last year. They were dealing with some injuries. Now you got Anthony Black there. You got a real point guard that could help orchestrate this offense. You got Jet who could shoot. Of course, you got Franz there, Wendell. I mean, they have a really fun five, huh?
Jingling Joe.
You sure you want me to yell these out?
You're doing playoffs or regular season?
Playoffs. You don't want me to yell at the
But the playoffs is a what? 5-game sample size?
6.
Who's this?
Jaren Jackson.
Off on.
Playoffs is fucking.
No, I'm good. I'm
sorry. We're here, bro. This is fun.
Bro, 6-game sample size in the playoffs is not that large, especially for a Lakers team who the Grizzlies were injured across the board.
Listen, this is gonna really. This might excite you. So, when Jaren was on the court against the Lakers, 102 offensive rating. When he was off, 107.
So they were better offensively without him.
But defensive rating. Defensive rating when he was on 111. When he was off, 109.
So they were 2 points better with him off.
They were better at all facets when he wasn't on the court.
That's why on-off numbers are bullshit.
That's what I'm saying. They're so it's like
Well, what about the regular season though?
Regular season was fucking amazing. Actually, he might have cleared Bam. I lied. Well, offense 119.
I'm just talking about defense.
Oh, defense. Yeah, I know you didn't want to get into offense. 109 on, 114 off. So defense, you're there.
So the gap in the playoffs with Bam and defensive rating is basically what Jaren Jackson was in regular season.
Yeah.
5-point difference.
But offensively, they're when he's off, they're 4 points worse in the regular season.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But defensively, they get better. I mean, offensively, they get better in the playoffs.
I'm lost dog.
Yeah.
His efficiency wasn't good in the playoffs.
It's because he's this. Me and you projected him to be this great 3-point shooter, at least good. He's very inconsistent at the moment. So hopefully
he needs to be that for them to take that lead.
Hopefully he can figure that.
So you have Austin Reeves and Paolo Banchero.
Austin Reeves individual numbers, Paolo team wise, bringing it up.
Austin Reeves could win Most Improved Player.
Yeah. Would he be in contention?
He would have to put up some numbers. I don't know.
I mean
going from 12 points to 18. I mean, if you think he's third best player on the championship team with LeBron and AD, can he not?
You see the guys they have as favorites though. Some hefty guys. They had Hallie. They have Maxey as a favorite.
If Harden leaves too, Maxey's
Halliburton and Maxey pulling up to win.
Hallie could average like 24 and 12, and he would probably get most. And if they have like a 50-win season, 45-win season, he would get it.
I think you've got to be a Lauri Markkanen or a Julius Randle, a Jeremy Grant to win Most Improved. You are a role player.
Yeah. Shit is dead in the water,
the right
bro.
Opportunity to level up in your statistics.
I mean, we just saw SGA level up at a tremendous level and didn't win it. Yeah. That's because of Lauri, though.
So Bridges is the favorite for FanDuel. Cade is up here.
Mikal.
Yes. Yeah, sure. Austin Reeves is the 4th favorite for FanDuel.
I guess if you go from 0 across the board, right? But
yeah, my fault. Yeah, I should have said Mikal first. Sengun's up here. Scotty's up here. Pool's up here. Tyus Jones is up here.
One of those players.
Tyus Jones is up here too. And Frene's up here.
You said Jordan Poole?
Poole has the 7th.
Because he's gonna have the counting stats. The Wizards probably gonna be terrible.
I'm just reading FanDuel. I don't really read the rest of them. Simons, Giddey, Sharp, Jalen Williams, Wagner, Walker Kessler, Desmond Bane's back up here.
It gets bad.
I'm not going to read the rest.
With Ime Udoka coming in and aiming off the bench, Alperen Şengün would be my pick for Most Improved.
He's the 5th favorite, plus 1,600.
And I mean, unlike those other guys, he wasn't putting up 20 points and 10 assists. He was putting up 14 points, 9 rebounds, and 4 assists. But without the offense exclusively being run through him, Jalen, and then Eamon.
Is Sengun going to get to a 20-point per game score on that team?
I think he'd get to 18 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, which isn't crazy.
6.5 assists. Yeah, he's a really great passer. This week in the NBA. Now, John, you have you have an interesting Ben Simmons take. I think you are starting to have a soft spot for him. Redemption season, possibly. What is this about Ben Simmons you want to share?
Ben Simmons was pretty abysmal last year. All things considered, career lows in points, rebounds, assists. Didn't finish the year. Was shut down by February. But I was doing a little bit of my due diligence, a little research action. And it came to my attention that some experts say from the back procedure he had, he would not be fully recovered up until a month into the 2023-24 season. And it makes me think, when watching Ben Simmons last year, it was so easy to be like, well, he just doesn't like playing basketball, and he's never grown his game. But he lost all of the explosiveness he had in Philadelphia. He didn't look healthy. Anytime he drove to the rim, it was a dump-off pass or an awkward left-handed floater. I still think he should shoot to it with his right hand. You look at the Nets, it's a low-pressure environment. Unlike last year, there's zero drama. The only X factor is Ben Simmons. All the pressure that was put on him as a number 1 overall pick has kind of evaporated. Sure, he's paid $87 million over the next 2 years, but the reality is the Nets aren't going to be a high-level playoff team. He gets to ease his way back into the lineup, and I'm starting to feel like no one's really going to look at him as a starting caliber power point guard after this last year, but there's a lot of opportunity here with this Nets team, and I'm kind of starting to buy a little bit of stock here, Benjamin.
I've never, not to be up on your business, but I've never typed a question mark into Google.
What you mean?
Has Ben Simmons recovered question mark? I've never done that.
Oh, nah, bro. Look.
Yeah.
You're looking at...
my fault. My fault. Big guy.
Come on now.
He typed in a question mark.
I thought he did, but it was just the way it looked. It looked like that was a search bar, but it wasn't.
Ben Simmons return, and there's some feedback.
Yeah.
One of the feedback questions that Google provides was Ben Simmons
question mark.
question mark.
I was going to move me. My this week in the NBA, it's actually one of your guys. Now, a lot of the times we see, X team is interested in Y player. There's not a lot of times where we see X player interested in Y team, but we know for Christian Wood, not all the rules apply. Christian Wood is interested in a potential destination with the Miami Heat. Wow. We know the Heat are in a lot of talks with Dame and whatnot, and if there's any coach that could get Christian Wood right, I know it's Spo, so I'm hoping he doesn't go there.
Wow, if they get him, they might not need Dame.
Oh, my God. You heard that, Riff?
My this week in the NBA, Josh Hart, contract extension, 4 years, $81 million. Much deserves. Give it up for Josh Hart. One of the most impactful role players in the league. I was told by John, listen, it doesn't help the Knicks, but it certainly did help the Knicks.
He was hitting the shots.
He was hitting the shots, and we don't know if that's going to continue. But congratulations to Josh.
Good
role player, probably overpaid, but good for him.
Definitely overpaid. I don't have it this week in the NBA. I'll be honest.
Come on. Bob Myers. ESPN.
Wemby got 84 overall.
Facts.
On 2K. I think that's too high.
Record. He's a generational. So fuck it.
Jaylen Brown's 89.
Really?
Him only being 5 points higher than Wemby's nuts.
Damn, he's only 89.
Should be 90. All NBA.
At least, yeah, for sure.
I see the Heat series also gone to the 2K devs or whoever makes those ratings.
Jimmy's a 95.
That's insane.
Should be like a 93.
Valid. 91 maybe.
91 1 point higher than JB.
2.
93.
And also, if you made it this far to our This Week in the NBA, also want to let you know 2 things. One is that we just released a brand new Patreon episode. You can see a sneak peek of it right here.
Broke.
All right, we'll just.
You got to eat all of it, bro.
I know.
Okay, you just going.
Okay,
As you can see in the sneak peek, Riv is dying to drink some water, some milk. He tried the 1 chip challenge, extremely spicy chip.
That was Santos. He killed half a carton of milk.
Yeah.
Grown man.
I just bought that milk.
Wish it was almond milk.
Okay, cheap.
Wish it was almond milk. It is not cheap. My goodness.
Sorry, bro. It's just
it's good. You needed it. It's
just
fine.
thinking about that shit. It was really nasty. Like
it went right through you.
No,
you were
I
in there.
remember. I went to the. I couldn't eat the rest of it.
No, I know, but you were in the bathroom after. I don't know if you're.
I actually didn't have the shit, but I had to sit down and
just relax.
Yeah, relax, get in a comfortable position, just in case I had the shit. Like I had to go outside, stand up, feel the heat in case I was about to throw up. I was like, all right, I beat this part. Now let me go in the bathroom, see if I got a shit.
Beat that the part. Like worst food experience of your life
for sure, undoubtedly. Yeah, I'm never doing that again.
Spicy stuff.
No, that actually was. It's nasty.
It doesn't taste good.
And it's like
I feel like anything that spicy probably doesn't taste good.
And just thinking about it makes me throw up.
And then number 2, make sure you guys join for the Mojo waitlist. Link is in our bio. We are trying to get over 50 referrals. We have 29 so far, so make sure you guys join the referral list.
Before
we had 20.
We had 20.
Oh, we have 29.
Yo, come
on. You helped us out with the franchise tag. Now help us out get this incentive.
Now
man.
we on a contract again. You know what I'm saying?
This is just what we got the contract, but this is one of the incentives in the contracts that could get us.
So how do you do the referral?
How do you do the referral is that you go to the link in our bio, you click the Mojo link, and then it takes you to the site, and you put your name in, your first name, and then you put your email, you submit it, and when the DFS app is live, they will email you that is now live so you can download the app.
Right.
DFS a couple weeks, right?
We got our All Pro year in. They didn't believe in us. Now we're coming back for another year. Yeah, now we got to kick in, man. So help us out, man.
To end off the show, it's an interesting question right here because, all offseason, and I'm glad John is on the show for this. I love Drew. But whenever we talk about the Suns, it's always 3 against 1 because none of you guys are believers.
I
think we all think the Suns are a top 3 team in the West.
Wait, I don't think I've said anything bad about the Suns' big 3. Only just Kevin Durant.
You've said a lot of things bad about the Suns.
Yeah, before. But the big 3, I was pretty mute about it. So keep that between.
But the question is, everybody always mentions the Suns' depth. Whenever you bring them to conversation, it doesn't matter that they have KD, Booker, and Beal. It's the depth. But the Celtics, they never get brought up when it comes to the depth question. And Dehls, you have some concerns yourself for that depth.
I do. And when we made the Porzingis trade, that was one of my concerns was I was going through this lineup, and you have your starting 5 of Derek White's going to start the 1, JB, Tatum, and wherever it is. But the 3 bigs, Porzingis, Al, and Rob.
6 players.
And then off the bench, you got Brogdon, who, listen, the playoffs last year was not good. He was banged up, so I'm giving the benefit of the doubt. But outside that, it's Sam Hauser and Peyton Pritchard. Those are your probably 8th and 9th men off the bench. And I thought Hauser should have played more in the playoffs last year. I thought against the Hawks, we know he could shoot. I thought against the Hawks, he played pretty good defense. But I am concerned that the Celtics bench does not go deep. And now you're acquiring Porzingis, who has injury concerns. Malcolm Brogdon, who probably is untradeable at this point because we still don't really exactly know what's going on with him. And then also Robert Williams, who always deals with injuries no matter what season. He doesn't play 82 throughout his career. So I have real concerns about the Celtics. I think the reason they don't get brought up is because for years, the Celtics have had the depth, and it feels like the Suns' issue last postseason, there's a few issues, but one of them was depth, and they gave up a lot of their depth, not that they were great pieces, but a lot of the flexibility down the line to acquire depth, down the road, because going to the second apron, you're not able to make as many moves. Of course, the Celtics are going to be approaching that apron if they're not already in it, even though Brown's contract doesn't hit for another couple of seasons. But I'm concerned about the Celtics depth. Of course, getting Porzingis and to the Suns, getting Bradley Beal, you get that third star. And of course, star power in the NBA, that's what you're looking for. But you do have to go through, if you want to win a championship, 3 playoff series. And if we know anything about the Celtics, they don't make it easy for themselves. They don't beat the Hawks in 4 or 5 games. They go 6. They don't beat the 76ers without Embiid. They have to go 7 games. They go down 3-0 to the Heat. The same thing happened last year. They took care of business against the Nets, but 7 against the Bucks, 7 against the Heat, and then, of course, they lost the Warriors. So when you have a combination of a team who can't take care of business, now you have depth concerns, now you have injury concerns. Of course, I'm going to root for my guys, and with all the draft picks Brad Stevens has acquired this offseason, I think there's probably still another move. But right now, as we stand, you're talking about Payne Pritchard and Sam Hauser getting significant minutes in the playoffs, and I don't feel great about that.
Oh, you guys want me to go? This topic is actually really, really interesting. Boston Celtics, man. Derek White, Malcolm Brogdon's your backcourt for the most part.
Brogdon probably 6 man.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying in general, like your guards. Jaylen Brown, you can on and off guard forward. He switches up every other year. Tatum's in your front court. Then you got Porzingis, you got Al Horford, and then Rob Wills manning down that center spot. 6 guys, 7 guys, right? Then Hauser with the size, ability to stretch the floor. What is he, like 6'8", 6'9"? Probably is going to get that. Yeah, he's probably going to get that 8th spot.
You don't want Nabe or Hauser.
Yuta. But, he'll probably get that 8th spot. The difference between the Suns' depth and the Celtics' depth is the Celtics' depth is just more proven in the NBA, and I think that's why the Celtics' depth doesn't get the flack. Malcolm Brogdon is proven in the NBA. He may not be proven as a champion, but he's proven as an NBA basketball player. Derek White is proven. He just made all-defensive team. Porzingis is proven. Rob Will is proven. Like, these guys are proven players outside of Tatum and Brown. For the Phoenix Suns, the problem is a lot of these guys, it's still up in the air. It's a mystery behind these players. What can they do in a heightened role? What can they do in a more role, more pressure and stuff like that? So the difference is really that, because the pressure has been on Boston, and they went to the ECF. Pressure's been there for Rob Will and Al Horford. Al Horford is in series where he's locked up Joel Embiid in one-on-one matchups. So we know what he can do when the pressure's on when the pressure's on the line. Derek White, we know what he can do when the pressure's on the line. So it's no, even though they have a depth concern, which is a problem for them in the regular season, 80-game series, that's 80-game season, that's going to be a problem. I think in the playoffs, that 7-man rotation is fine. Maybe you can just throw Hauser in as the 8th man, but it's fine because you kind of know what you're going to get out of those guys. You trust those guys. With the Phoenix Suns, let's all just be realistic here. Maybe John is the one guy that's watched Jordan Goodwin for 40 games, and then maybe a little bit of Joel. But Jordan Goodwin, Yuta Watanabe, Josh Okogie, Keita Bates-Diop. Yeah, they have not had real pressure in a playoff environment to know what they're going to look like, and they're in a different role. And that is more expectation. So it's going to be different conversations. And the Suns really, like you said, a part of their problem was depth against the Nuggets, but they didn't have anybody outside of Kevin Durant and Devin Booker to create a shot or create an open look for anybody else. Bradley Beal provides that. It's just about now you have 3 guys, 2.5 guys that can do it. Kevin Durant can do it at a mid-level, but Devin Booker can do it at a great level. Bradley Beal can also do that. Are these other guys who aren't proven going to hit those shots? I think that's where the depth concerns really come into play.
You missed Eric Gordon.
I did. I literally was blanking on names. He's also is very streaky, and he shoots parking lot threes.
Malcolm Brogdon,
them shits are nuts.
Malcolm Brogdon shot like 44%.
Does Malcolm Brogdon shoot parking lot threes?
He shot
As Malcolm Brogdon being
dog, the 3-point line is over there.
Eric is Brogdon was actually he was a terrible finisher at the rim, but he was an elite 3-point shooter.
Has Malcolm Brogdon been in dogfights with the Juggernaut Warriors back in the Rockets days? That was Eric Gordon.
He didn't show that.
That was Eric Gordon. He was in those matchups.
He didn't show that at all in the Clippers series. Was he taking parking lot threes in those series?
Yeah, and he was making them.
Nuts. He got to stop, bro.
Eric Gordon, Damian Lee just shot what from 3, John? I forgot.
40+%.
He's a ring.
Very high.
That's Damian Lee.
He's someone who's been in that pressure.
Percentage.
He played a little bit.
And you know he could shoot. He could shoot that 3 ball. I mean, listen.
To talk about the Celtics, their season to me depends on Robert Williams staying healthy. This last year he played 35 games. The year before he was in the Defensive Player of the Year discussion. One of the most improved defensive players in the league
for the playoff run.
because he stayed healthy for the first time in 2022.
Excuse me. No, this is Golden State.
Sorry, John. Are you trying to talk?
This is Golden State.
Oh, really?
Steve
8 minutes. 8 minutes can be valuable in the playoffs.
He scored 2 points a game.
8 minutes, you're like the last round.
He shot 25% from the 3-point line, by the way.
Sometimes you need those minutes.
25% from the 3-point line. This guy just doesn't know when to stop, bro. It's not helping your case. Go ahead, John. My fault, Brody.
You're good. The Celtics are able to kind of mask some of their offensive passing shortcomings with that elite defense that dropped off by 5 points last year. And in order for them to continue developing and improving, by losing a lot of that depth, it's going to rely heavily on not only Time Lord, but then also Malcolm Brogdon to stay healthy. I look at the Suns' depth, and it is worse. But you also look at guys like Keita Bates-Diop, lesser known, Yuta Watanabe, and Jordan Goodwin. They're all in their early 20s, coming off their best year so far. And they have an opportunity to come off the bench for 20 minutes per game. They actually can stay healthy with that.
I don't want to cut you off. Does the Phoenix Suns' best player not have injury concerns?
Kevin Durant?
Yes.
He has a good amount.
Okay.
Good amount was nuts.
I was going to say, if we were talking about Rob, let's do KD's last 4 years. It doesn't look much better.
And I'm just talking about the depth now.
Okay. Oh, my bad. Yeah, because why talk about the best player on each team? That doesn't make sense.
Because in the playoffs, KD hasn't been
That's
injured.
fair.
No, he's for sure healthy and losing. Sorry.
But when talking about the Celtics, my concern just comes from the fact, and this is the whole point of the topic, this is a team where it only gets harder from here on out for Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown to carry the torch with not a whole lot of support if one or two of these guys does go down. You're looking at a bench that's not the same. Joe Mazzulla, I really enjoyed watching his offense in the regular season, but he's not anywhere close to Ime Udoka. One of the 10 best coaches in the league, arguably, hasn't coached in a year. And then on top of those two things, too, the defensive foundation isn't what it once was. By losing Marcus Smart, you're putting a lot of eggs in the basket of Derek White, who had a fantastic defensive season, was better last year than Marcus Smart for just 2023 defensively. But you can't deny the psychological element of losing a guy, Marcus Smart, who was the heartbeat of this team for the last 8 years.
Yep.
And I feel like the combination of that with inexperienced coaching and a lack of depth, that's why I favor the Suns. Frank Vogel, more experienced coach. We saw what he just did with the Lakers, made them a championship team, and his first year with them. I look at this Boston team, and I simply think there's too much on the shoulders of these two-star wings who are not exactly the ideal fits with one another.
Can you respect Sam Cassell, top assistant coach?
He's a great assistant head coach. It's good.
Fucking guy.
Still not Frank Vogel.
I'm looking at the 1920 Lakers because I want to see a knock on that team was they didn't have a lot of depth, even though they ran through the West that year. You have AD, LeBron, KCP, who at that point, KCP had only been to the playoffs once in his career. He played well, but it was only once to that point. Kyle Kuzma was on that team, first time in the playoffs. Rajon Rondo, veteran. Danny Green, veteran. Caruso, first time in the playoffs that time. Markieff, Dwight, JaVale. So, you know, they had some vets. And I think the Suns have some vets. I think Eric Gordon's a vet. I think KD, Booker, Beal are vets. Those are 4 players right there. Listen, I think DeAndre Ayton, he is a vet. And he's played well in the playoffs before. I think the biggest move this offseason for the Suns, of course, we talk about Bradley Beal, but I think it was possibly getting Frank Vogel as the coach because he's somebody that I don't really care about the defensive personnel not being over the top with the Suns. I think this defense will be a top 10 defense in the league just with Frank Vogel's schematics and what he's going to get them to do on a defensive end. You're laughing at me.
No, I can't. Every time I stare at you, we always laugh.
That's
top
cute.
10.
That's cute.
I think
If Ayton can become a modest rim protector, yeah. If Ayton is because every time Frank Vogel
Ayton could be that though.
That's what I'm saying. Every time Frank Vogel has had great defenses, but he's always had the personnel.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he's always had the rim protector for it. AD, Roy Hibbert, you know, he had PG on the wings. George Hill was a stout defender at the point guard position with Indiana. He had Lance Stevenson, who also was pesky. He had some squads. Yes, at Paul George. And then with the Lakers, he had Caruso, LeBron James, Anthony Davis. He had KCP. Like, he's had personnel. So for this Phoenix team, it's going to rely on Keita Bates-Diaz, who, what I'm known, he's a really good defender. Kevin Durant could still give you that rim protection on the weak side. Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton. It's going to Josh Okogie. It's going to rely a lot on these guys if they want to be top 10.
I know this isn't impressive, like, per se, but in Orlando, when he coached their 2 seasons, the second season, they were 18th in defensive rating with Fournier, Gordon, Vucevic, Simmons, Elfrid Payne, Augustine, Hazonia.
And unlike
Ross.
those teams, the
Team
Suns
is valid. It's valid for that
this
roster,
Suns team does not have any defensive liabilities on it. Guys you can attack. The Celtics get a lot of Peyton Pritchard offensively, but that's a 6-foot guard, right? And one of the things that I prioritized this offseason was switchable wings. Guys like Bol Bol, who are probably not going to ever be real rotation players.
Bobo cannot defend.
He actually is a quite good weak side rim protector. Oh, because of his length.
You said never mind, guy. Keep going.
He's got all of the tools to at least.
Oh, you're one of them tool guys, bro. He can't defend.
Right, but Frank Vogel oftentimes had a guy like
Bol
Anthony
can guard on the
Davis.
perimeter, bro.
Not quite, but with the length, that's one of the most important
He did
aspects
say
of defense.
switchable guys.
You look at what Frank Vogel can do. It's having a non-shooter, leaving him in the corner, and then having Bol Bol to offer that weak side rim protection. He's got a 7'8" wingspan.
How many minutes is Bol playing for this team?
Probably 10. 12.
Are you still thought of?
But it's the archetype of these
DNPs
switchable wings. You gotta let me speak. It's the archetype of switchable wings like Keita Bates-Diop, Eric Gordon, and Utah. All 3 of those guys.
Oh, he's a good defender from what I know.
Fine team defenders. KD this last year was one of the best defenders on a Brooklyn team. That was one of the best defenses. The moment they got clicking, they led the league in blocks, Nicholas Claxton. And DeAndre Ayton has immense defensive tools. He's just never developed since coming out of Arizona. If he can harness some of that rim protection, the laws of verticality, as Frank Vogel once applied with Roy Hibbert, there's no doubt in my mind they can be one of the better defenses. Top 10 to me is a little bit hot because we know D-Book, Beal, and KD are all going to miss games in the regular season. But if they can be the 14th best defense in the regular season, that's not going to affect their standing in the season.
They just need, I mean, it's playoffs that we care about. We know this Suns team, they're not going to fall out of the top 6, barring something catastrophic.
And that's what matters to get to the playoffs, right? Like the Nets, they fell to the 7th seed 2 years ago. And that's why they had to face up with the Celtics in the first round. True. So all the Phoenix Suns have to do is just get a top 4 seed, a little bit better than last year.
Should have heard if they fall 7 and play Denver again.
Oh, they'd be cooked. Yeah. But if they can get a good, favorable round 1 matchup, that will be what puts them in place to then go on a run. Without it, they're not going to.
I think that's fair. I mean, Frank Vogel, you guys mentioned, he brings that defensive mind. I also think that, I know I give Joe Mazzulla a lot of, I give him some leeway, but you have to admit, he got the job a week before training camp opened, right? So he got in. He's fucking like 35 years old. It's his first time as a head coach. So he got thrown into the fire. I think this year now he has a full offseason. We completely revamped the assistant coaches because they basically all went to Houston to follow Ime. Now that we have an actual assistant coaching staff that has experience, Mazzulla going into year 2, we saw Jaylen Brown speak when I believe it was right after he signed his contract. It's like, I want us to get back to that defensive-minded kind of Boston basketball that we saw 2 years ago. They have the personnel to do it. They do have, obviously, a couple liabilities. Al Horford's getting up there in age, but we know, and down low, he's still one of the best defenders. Payne Pritchard, like you mentioned, but Pritchard's not going to get a lot of minutes. Brogdon can't get exposed. He did in the playoffs. But when you have Tatum, who could be all defensive team any other year, you have Porzingis, who's shown that. You have Rob, who's shown that. Jaylen Brown, I know didn't show it last year, but shown in previous years. He can get back to that. I think they have at least 4 guys that can be elite defensively that you don't have to really worry about, Payne Pritchard getting his 7 minutes or Al Horford getting stuck in a switch.
To be fair, though, if Brogdon goes down, Pritchard's going to be playing a lot of minutes.
He is.
Delano Banton's somebody they signed.
That is facts. 6'9" guard, right?
He's really big. Pickup.
He is big.
He's a fun player. He's a fun project player.
He is. But I think probably a 1-year deal, I'm assuming. Maybe it's 2. But yeah, I've never seen. It's crazy how Grant Williams goes from, to quote Riv, fat and shitty to now we lose him and it's the biggest loss in the world. So
not I said that. No shot in hell I'd ever say that.
So who's going further next year in the playoffs? The Boston Celtics or the Phoenix Suns?
Well, we know the Boston Celtics. The floor is the ECF. So
as of recently, nothing tells us that's going to happen in the future. It could not happen in the future.
We have about 5 years in a row, or not 5, but 5 years out of the last 7, right? Like
the Hawks took out of 6. If they get Siakam,
that's kind of a wild question to ask in August. I guess I'll go farthest right now. Celtics playoffs, it could change.
Celtics.
The Suns.
He said that so low. I thought he was about to say the Suns.
Listen, in the West, I got a lot of teams, man.
I got the West
Suns.
Is easily the harder conference.
Yeah. Yes. I got the Suns, the Mavericks, the Wolves,
Denver. Don't forget them.
Lakers are
Denver.
in there.
I love Denver.
You like all the best teams. Like
you saying best? I thought you
but Denver. I'm not gonna try to jack Denver. I love and admire what they've done. I'm not gonna say that's my team. The Suns are my team because Jessica's a Suns fan. So that I root for the Suns.
Oh, so we're stealing our females.
He was rooting for KD. I mean, it's because of KD. You're not gonna just throw Jess into this and be like, oh, it's valid. It was
of course.
KD.
No, I root for the Suns because of KD, but I was a KD fan and rooting for the Suns with KD. But
now you're
with my girl now being a Suns fan, like I am a Suns fan.
My girl's a Heat fan. It's not a chance in God's name. You fucking catch me for that
organization. There's a rivalry there. I understand it. Celtics Heat. That makes sense.
It's also a Cowboys fan.
You're a Dallas fan. There's a rivalry between Dallas and the Suns. You don't care about it though, don't you?
No, I don't.
But okay.
No, yeah, I told her I don't. She's mad at me about that, but I told her
she doesn't fuck with Dallas.
No, she does not at all.
Because she's a real fan.
She hates Luka.
She's a real fan of the Suns.
I know. I'm not a real fan of the Suns.
Wow, she hates Luka.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I'm surprised you kind of made this far. You fucking love him.
No, she hates Luka. She hates Luka.
Oh man,
that's gonna do it for episode 302 of the Pick a Side Podcast. You can follow us on TikTok and Instagram at Pick a Side Podcast, on Twitter at Pick a Side Pod. Make sure to join the Mojo DFS waitlist.
Run it up.
Link is in our bio.
Please.
Thank you for watching and or listening, and we'll see you next time.